Okay, I'm
Hello,
ready.
everyone. Welcome to another episode of Insider Knowledge. We have the classic team, Aikado, Drisoth, and of course me as a BaJAtak. How are you guys doing? How do you enjoy the Eternal meta that we have now? And how are you excited about the fact that we have open in 4 days?
I hate it. I feel like my opinion of LOR drops every time I'm forced to play Eternal, and I have determined that I just hate that fucking format.
It's so funny. I'm the exact opposite. Every time that I have to grind out standard, I want to jump off of a cliff. But
Exactly.
Eternal's like, returning to the welcoming arms of all the friends that you left behind. You come back. I get to play my really fun, PNZ aggro decks. I get to play my stupid fucking control decks, my stupid fucking combo decks.
Yeah,
I love Eternal.
I
I do
will,
agree with you.
I will say, I do not hate Eternal because I love Standard. I hate Eternal unrelated to Standard.
Okay, I can see.
I think that standard being so shit makes me like Eternal more. I think
Yeah,
that's definitely
I do
true.
I do agree with you. I think I definitely think I love Eterna. Like especially after the standard. Okay, let's be honest. Standard is just mid range, and when we look at the Eterna decks, we have combo, we have aggro, we have mid range, we have counter, we have everything, and that's something that I just love. I can choose. Okay, now I can play
Yeah,
Poppy 6 and just kill people. Now I can play combo deck. I can play my fucking Shellfolk Infinite that we're gonna talk about later. I can play something, some mid range deck, and I, for example, can play Varmada Skull because it's a decent deck as well. So. Uh, yeah, I just
yeah.
loved it because of that.
My frustration is like, Standard is dull. I don't think we're gonna get any pushback from any of the three of us about this. Like, Standard is just like incredibly bland, um, and has been for a very long time. Eternal, I have the specific complaint about of like, it just feels like a lot of the standard decks with just really unpleasant sharp stuff in it. Where it's like aggro. I mean, okay, aggro was fake competitively in standard, but like you occasionally run into people just like jamming some Noxian Fervor, Noxus aggro deck, whatever. And you just play against those same decks, and now they have Legion Rearguard on one. You're like, fuck this. I hate this card.
Okay, I hear you, but I'm playing aggro right now. If we were to lock in lineups right now, I'm bringing triple aggro, and none of
Yeah,
my decks
probably.
are running Legion Rearguard. I'm playing fucking based aggro, and I love the based aggro that I'm playing.
Wait, what are you playing? Wait, what?
I'm playing 9x
Zero?
ballistic pod aggro, bro. I'm fucking
Oh, okay. So you like
I'm
TF Nilah, Draven Vi, and what is the last deck?
Aphelios Victor.
Oh, First Victor. Okay, sure.
Hmm.
Okay.
I'm
I
playing
think the
some
Rearguard
fun
decks are
fucking
still
shit.
good. I just played the Katarina, Vladimir deck. Man, Vladimir just slaps, man. I don't know. Vladimir's a crazy card. Like,
Vladimir is like
and
a pretty good rework. Like he does stuff now. I don't think he's like incredible, but he like definitely is a card that exists and is like actually like fine.
I think that Vladimir's really I think that he does a strong thing. I think the issue is that he's stuck in Eternal. Where, like the the strong thing he's doing usually isn't enough. Um, but like if we had Vlad in standard, I think that Vlad would fucking shit on standard. I think that he'd be
yeah.
crazy.
Like
Probably.
something we can definitely say is the difference of power level and standard Eternal. Like man, I can just see it. Like the difference. Like man, I'm playing now TF now. Man, I'm leveling TF on 5. Like
Yeah.
that's something that also I can see a reason why TF got better rotated. I think like I completely see it. Like Swiftstream and TF are pretty crazy. And yeah, I said I just enjoyed the Eternal. I think it's fun and it's kind of struggling because it's 10 days of patch into open. Of course, open that will decide about a lot of people's fate about worlds.
Yeah.
So it's also very like kind of questionable, but also it's kind of excited. So you can get actually some edge by good preparation, by some good scrims and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. We've had this problem with like every Eternal format. Since this one has like such a fast turnaround, I think it's like especially bad if like stats are just kind of fake in Eternal because matchmaking is
Completely.
so broken. It's like
Yeah.
who knows? Like
Yeah, you
Yeah.
cannot say what's good. Like I played today, and I or like even yesterday I played on stream, and like I had like silver player into gold player into platinum player, and actually it wasn't their rank only on Eternal. That was their like best rank actually on
yeah.
their on both standard and Eternal. And then like I'm just questioning, it's just so easy to like climb LP and yeah, like stats are
Playing
just fake.
later at night, I feel like I'm like 30-70, where like 30%, I hit like the Tuxins, I hit like the people who've been grinding all fucking patch and they're, like mid to high masters. I'm like, oh shit, okay. And then I hit, some people who are like silver and it's like, oh yeah, eternal matchmaking's still a little fucked, but
Yeah, I don't
I think
understand it. Like
I
I
think
don't get it.
a big thing about Eternal is, we talk about like the 10-day patch cycle, right? Where it's patch and then, 10 days later we have our tournament. I think it's especially painful for Eternal where like everyone, when you come into Eternal, they all play their pet deck first, right? Everyone's playing their pet deck,
Yeah.
everyone's playing their fun stuff, and then we get a few days of brewing fun stuff. And then like after that, usually is, where we have like a little bit of, like the meta settling and, us deciding like what's actually good. I'm not sure if we're gonna have time to like find out what the fuck's good. I think that
Yeah.
everyone, at least for me personally, I spent the first few days prepping for Aegis. So, I feel like I'm behind in this patch. And I'm like, I'm still in the playing fun stuff. And like, am I building decks that I think are really strong? 100%. But at the same time, like, I have no idea what the fuck everyone else is gonna play. Who
Yeah.
knows? I don't know if we're gonna like get to the point where we spiral down to an actual meta.
It's gonna be very. I don't think so. Like, there's not enough time. I think it's gonna be really hard to say what actually people are gonna be playing and open, and that's gonna be also once maybe then that skill as well. And once again, I guess this time gonna be like just play good decks, right? Because like you're gonna meet so many random shit in open that playing good decks just gonna reward you.
Yeah, I mean, the real problem that I'm seeing is like it's hard for me to even tell what's good. Like, yeah, like these like really high win rate decks. I think it's like mostly Nox's aggro.
I would by the way use Master Counter. This is so outdated. This is like 20 hours, and 20 hours is so long that I would just go Master Counter. They're updating instantly.
Master Hunter doesn't have a master's filter, and it's like everything's scuffed.
You're right on that.
Master Runeterra's stats are always a little. I look at them and like the numbers just don't feel right sometimes. I get weird vibes.
But man, this Severine thing just Rico, for example, like that's the thing.
I mean, you can see that from like the matches, right? Because like Rico is like 134 of these. And there are like 300 games, like literally
man.
half Rico.
Yeah. I think a lot of like the power that, in terms of like what's actually good, a lot of that's just vibes, it's just like I play this deck and like I see that I'm doing a strong thing and I feel that I'm doing a strong thing. And it's just based off of like, I've played a lot of Eternal, I've played a lot of these decks before. I think what I'm doing is strong. And and then beyond that, it's like testing with other people, right? I was scrimming a couple people last night. I'll probably continue trying to scrim. I feel like that's probably going to get me, better practice than just jamming ladder, as much as I love jamming ladder.
Yeah.
It's my favorite.
I mean, I think you can like look at stats like this and be like, okay, Poppy Ziggs is definitely not bad, but is it like properly good? Who knows? Like,
so the thing is, okay, here's my issue. You see Poppy Ziggs, you see Draven Vi, right?
Yeah.
These have very high stats and have had very high stats for several days.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're the types of decks where their win rate is going to drop massively the moment you play against only good players. Like only good players that know what you're doing, they know what your win condition is. They're not gonna get cheesed out by like Might 6-drop. Like I think once people know what you're doing, these types of decks, like this is a Feint deck, right? Every single season, if you remember in Eternal where Feint was playing, he would build some PNC Nox, whether it's like Draven Victor or Victor Vi or Riven Draven or Fizz Draven, there was always like these silly decks that like have insane win rates for like a week and then they drop off the face of the earth because people figure out how to play against them. And I'm worried that this deck is similar. That said, I played like 15 games of this and I haven't dropped a single game. I literally have not lost a game with this deck, so I don't know if it's real or not.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, like this deck is just like, if opponent doesn't know that to play this 6-drop and Might, they're just gonna lose to it. And then like they're gonna be okay. They might be playing Might, and then you play Kato, and they're gonna be, I guess, I'll lose to that. So it's very interesting.
I don't know. Every time I've seen like a Feint deck that I thought was like properly good, and I feel like this one might be properly good. It feels like it's always like a more extreme version of a deck that is actually the correct way to build it. And like the one that comes to mind is I hit like Tuxin today, and he was playing like Draven Rumble with this kind of stuff going on. We're playing Ruined Reckoner, we're playing Enraged Fire Spitter, we're playing Triple Mites, but we're just playing like Draven Rumble, and we'd have like a way better plan B. Because like there's a lot of decks that you just like put a Rumble into play on turn 4, and they're like, oh fuck, I guess I die.
Yeah, Fitz was messaging me yesterday, and he was like, "This is the way you play it." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll try it out." I didn't try it out yet, but yeah, maybe Draven Rumble is the way.
Yeah, it's just like when you sit like when I see stuff like Sunworks map, I'm like,
that's fake. That's fake. Don't look at that. That card's fake. Don't look at that one.
This starts feeling like really all in compared to like playing like most of the power in this deck, where you're playing like Enraged Fire Spitters, Triple Knights, some survival skills, this Draven stuff, Ballistic Bot, and I can just play Rumble instead. And
Like,
it's like,
I think there's Draven deck. I think Draven is completely broken. I think that card is like busted. Like I think Draven is like maybe the best card in the game.
yeah,
Like
you ever start playing Eternal and you're like, oh, this shit's miserable, and these cards got rotated for a reason, and I don't want to fucking deal with them. Like Draven.
No,
And
I'm playing
Ballistic Bot
Draven. I'm like,
and Legion
hot damn,
Rearguard.
bro. I love this shit. I axed. Oh
And
my god,
this fucking
Ballistic
card.
Bot plus Draven on board. The augment with the axes, man. It just the fucking happy chemicals in my brain are going crazy.
a lot of things happening. You know, the dopamine. You know, the zoomer brain. I love it as well.
Man. I'm I don't know. I think that like this list is like obviously fake. But I do think that there's something real in this. I don't know if it's actually running Kato. I don't know if Kato's like anytime I see Kato, I'm like, okay, we're not there yet. But you know, sometimes it fucks.
Yeah, I guess Kato was never good, right? Was there ever like I saw it in the past? There was even like in Schlerblanc, you know, and then we like cut it out. And, like
This card was in beta, right? It probably saw play in beta because like the card pool
I
was
think
fucking
it
2
no, it
centimeters
didn't
deep.
see. No, because on turn 5, what happened in beta is that opponent play Elnax and they either win or he conceded. So that was what was happening in beta.
I think the most success I've ever seen with Kato outside of this deck was hitting it off of Tribeam. When you hit off of Tribeam, Kato fucks, but you know, if you're putting them in your deck, I don't know. But yeah. I honestly I'm enjoying Eternal, but it's because you know I'm winning a lot. I'm playing a lot of decks that I enjoy, and I'm building decks that I enjoy. I built a new version of TF Nilah that I think is fucking broken. I built like the Temple PNZ Nox control pile that was like probably kind of mid, but it was fun.
You build it. You just took it from Donut and make it buy-stick, but okay, I guess. I guess.
I think I'm like 12 cards different from Donut, bro. I built that shit ground up. Come on. I built TFs, man. It's not. I didn't build TFs. I built TFs in current year. You know.
Yeah. Okay. I think Nilah is like. I think like that deck. You can maybe show it. There's a.
Yeah,
TF
I
Nilah.
brain blasted and I realized that Mariner is literally just Burblefish, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my god, I just need to play iterative, and then you know I I figured it out. You know I've created the new deck.
I think this deck like completely amazing. Like abuses not only TF, but I also think amazing abuses Nilah. Like I think Nilah is just crazy card, and that also find that she's even in standard. Like Nilah level 2 is not balanced.
What the
Nilah
fuck?
level 1 early is also very good.
Why are you playing Miriam?
Don't
Don't play Miriam. Don't play the one drop either. What is this list? This list is so ugly.
I'm pretty sure this is how this deck is supposed to look.
No. Look at my here. Pull me up. I'm playing a real fucking list. Don't worry.
You're playing some like control pile that
There's no X.
has a ton of agency. What? When do you?
No, it's an aggro deck, brother.
It doesn't work.
Oh my god,
Thank
you
you.
broke it. No, I'm here to fucking beat ass, dude.
I mean, I don't mind like Ballistic Bot. I still think we should probably be playing one drops and Miriams, but
Nah, I think Miriam is like Miriam's so mid, dude. Okay, so like Miriam's a good card, but like also Miriam's mid as fuck. I think Ballistic Bots are a lot better. I think Chompers with Ballistic Bot is crazy. And then like Stress Testing is kind of the most broken card in the game.
stress testing is unbelievably fucked up. Yes.
Yeah.
Except that this command with Maya and like Aikado is that we like play only one temple because like I do think that probably this list with temple is much stronger, but of course if they have landmark destruction, temple is not good, right? So
yeah, I think the nice thing about this list is that you don't have to rely on temple anymore. The first version that everyone was playing was me building it with just, you know, like this is like the funniest thing that you can do, and this is like, you know, hardcore crutching on temple. But like once you know, cut Rex and like start playing better cards and, you know, quit relying on temple, I think that it becomes a lot better.
I think still raw power is probably the temple better, but I said like there's sort of experts going on, so I do definitely agree that this is probably like better for that reason though.
Yeah, I don't know. I originally when like Temple was floating around, I was like, oh, okay, Temple's like how I'd like to see landmarks exist in the world of explorers. I fucking hate that card. I think that card should
Yeah, the
just
card
be
is very
like
stupid.
deleted. Like
Yeah,
I don't
like,
know. I
like
mean,
there's so many decks that just rely on Temple, and like every time I see these like all
I
Temple decks, I'm like, don't play this, man. Like, yeah, it's gonna be the good deck because I think Temple is broken, and I think, of course, it's counterable, I said, but uh, I do think the card is just fucked up though.
I mean, I just kind of the more we try and fix it, the more I'm convinced that like the entire landmark like card type should just cease to exist. Like just control F like landmark and just delete them all. Like this
I think
card
they're
type was a
fine landmarks,
mistake and
you
it's
know?
just unbelievably fucked up.
Like Preservarium, I think like the Predict landmark. These are like good, like I think fine
So
landmarks.
the
Like
problem
you
is
know
like
the Talia Zix, you know.
the problem is like legitimately if I try and find what landmarks I think were healthy for the game, the list is like Preservarium, um probably Roiling Sands, but only off of the 3/1, not the Summon to Roiling Sands card.
Yeah.
And that's
Is that
probably it. I this card type just shouldn't exist.
conservatory is based as fuck? Come
Okay,
on.
I did forget Conservatory. I actually think Conservatory is fine. But like
Yeah.
Ancient Prep, I could take or leave. I mean, it's like fine, but it's not anything that I'd particularly miss. Absolutely not, absolutely not, absolutely not, absolutely not, absolutely not, absolutely not, absolutely
think,
not, absolutely not.
So I think that landmarks definitely. I've hated my fair share of landmarks, right? I've absolutely hated my fair share. Temple itself, Temple's such a weird card because obviously the thing that it's doing is broken. Everyone knows that the thing that Temple is doing is broken, but the issue is that like so many of the decks that are playing Temple are like so fucking coped on like Temple just like winning you the game, and the moment it gets popped, their entire deck just like falls apart.
Yeah, it's
Like
certainly
I think that it's weird to me that like I understand wanting to nerf it and I feel that, but like fuck, dude, most of these decks are not good. Most of these decks truly are not good, and they are hardcore fucking coping on this landmark, just like sticking. So like nerfing the landmark's just so I don't. It just feels weird because I think all these decks are bad.
it's certainly counterable. Like I don't think Temple is broken. I think it's good, but I don't think it's broken. But like Jesus Christ, like, can we stop having these like landmarks that are like, I'm gonna play this landmark that has like very narrow interaction, and if you have the interaction, I fucking lose the game. And if you don't have interaction, you fucking lose the game. It's like, oh, this is very fun and engaging. Like, weapons do that kind of thing better, where it's like, yeah, if you heavy metal a combat cook, they're really unhappy. But like, it's not like I play combat cook, and if you have heavy metal, I just concede. And if you don't have heavy metal, you concede. Like
I can say. Like, at least we have like more access with the experts, but we can maybe go into the team that
Also,
if you
come
show
on.
our experts, because like let's be honest, like there's only one expert. Like I think like the difference between every expert and the Noxus Shurima is so big that like the Noxus Shurima is so much better. Like it's not close. Like
I think in Eternal specifically, a lot of the more mid explorers feel worse to play. Obviously, in Eternal, Noxus is a real region, so we're allowed to play the best one. But Noxus is like such a shit region in
also
Standard.
Shurima, right? Yeah, like this
Yeah.
card didn't see play in Standard because there's no Noxus deck, there's no Shurima deck, right? Or, like the Noxus deck that exists.
Don't sugarcoat it.
Decks, you know?
Don't sugarcoat it. There isn't no Shurima deck. That region doesn't exist in Standard. You do not play Shurima.
They're Dios, you know.
Nidalee, guys, Nidalee.
Like when you're sitting here and you're like, oh, I have a tier 2 like kinda okay deck as my best option. Like that is the top of the heap.
Yeah.
They put Akshan to
Lurk is the best
instant.
deck in the game.
Exactly. It's having the biggest player rate in Standard. Come on.
Yeah.
That's like 57% win rate currently. Like I don't know what's going on in Standard every time, but every time every good players go away, I don't know what's happening. Standard. First is
They just
Lurk,
like
second
Lurk,
is
bro.
the Poro King Yume, and third deck is like the Ice Soul Volibear. I don't know what's going on, and like when people that are competitive are not in Standard, man. Like
It's like it's like the utopia picture, you know, the world if competitive players didn't play standard, and it's just
Lurk.
it's Lurk and Volibear and
Yeah,
Yumi.
I do think I'd push back reasonably hard against your take of like there's only one explorer. I think like
I do think
Scully
so.
Pioneer is like clearly an explorer that exists, and Armed Acquisitioner is clearly an explorer that exists, particularly in standard, not standard.
I think the gap is so big that I do think that if you have option to choose, you always pick the Noxus streamer. Like
Yeah, but the thing is that a lot of decks that I think that Pioneer's obviously a very good card, and like in standard, I think that like I did not I say Pioneer, the fucking Challenger one, scholarly. But I was surprised in Standard that like the Attune Yordle is like much more playable than I thought it was. And then also like the Targon one is like super reasonable. The PNC one is still shit. But I think
Yeah.
that they're in Standard specifically. I think that they're basically all pretty close to playable.
Yeah, I think Octo Adventure kind of has this problem of like people are playing him as a 1/4 elusive unit because these elusive decks are still around for some reason. Like, if someone could
Yeah.
explain to me why we want to have like 22 elusive unit dot deck in the game,
Because we
that'd be
won't
great.
fucking nerf Yumi, dude. We're nerfing fucking Sting Officer and giving Omen Hawk blocker instead of just nerfing Yumi. Yumi's the But the issue is that if you go out and say Yumi's the issue, you get all the casual players. Oh, Yumi, Yumi, you want to nerf Yumi? What does Yumi do?
Also,
Yumi's the only reason I can't kill any of the fucking elusives.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if I would like specifically criticize Yumi, but I definitely think we have like a serious problem when we're looking at trying to nerf this deck, and you're like, okay, well, we're unironically playing Teemo, and like at times this deck has unironically played Daring Poro, and it's like, okay, if a deck is just playing Daring Poro, like we got fucking problems. Like,
I think
not
if you
not a
nerf
Poro's
him,
deck.
the issue is fixed. I think this deck is very bad without him. Like the
The
gap between having
problem is everyone's playing stupid mid-range decks, and control doesn't exist, and aggro doesn't exist, so we can't. The control decks are getting ass blown out by fucking Yumi. So we can't create like a cohesive and meta environment where we can actually punish these stupid fucking elusive players. So like I don't know, maybe we should have more options to play the game instead of just throw units at opponent.
Like, I guess you can show the decks, right, that we have in standard, but like if you go by player it, for example, because like of course Venite is kind of
standard.
misleading, but you can go like German Chen mid range, Poro King mid range, Bank mid range, whatever decks I'm not gonna talk about, and deep mid range. Like
unironically, I feel like this deck is like closer to mid range than control.
I haven't played standard, so I don't know about the turn that available. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Now
Scouts,
it's just
combo
it's the same
mid-range, you know,
stupid
like
shit. It's just
Galio,
ramp
mid-range.
into big guy.
Yeah.
It's
I don't know. I mean, standard has left a lot to be desired. This format has been incredibly lackluster. And like,
Especially
I don't
like
know.
since the summer and everything, we don't have aggro. Like that's also an issue. We didn't have counter. We were like, okay, that's fine. You know, we didn't have like combo decks. Sometimes we had like some combo decks, but since the summer kill, we just don't have even aggro now. So it's actually only mid range.
I think that the issue is that mid-range is able to build up a repertoire of, you know, like 10 to 12 like really good solid decks. So you can always play mid-range. But if one aggro or one combo or one control deck is good for one patch, it gets shot in the fucking head. So we can only ever have like one or two of these decks at a time because they all get fucking shot.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think that is like kind of leading to this problem, but the main thing that I would criticize is like there are so many cards and packages in standard that are just non-functional. Where it's like, okay, we left Diana and Nocturne in the deck supposedly to support Nightfall. Have either of the two of you ever played against Nightfall in all of the time you've been playing standard?
We don't have Doom Beast. We don't have Antidotes. No, of course we didn't play Nightfall.
The
That's the
deck
issue.
doesn't exist. And so like,
I think the rotation was just clear maze. I think the issue, we rotated too many cards. I think we rotated too many cards. I do agree. Kept TF rotated. Keep like these cards that are extremely problematic. Keep them rotated. But don't rotate 30% of the pool. Because we don't have cards to build the decks from.
Well, it's not so much that I would criticize. It's like, okay, if you're going to leave me with Diana and Nocturne, there had better be a functional Nightfall deck. Because since there isn't, like, Diana, you can kind of just play in a random Targon deck, but that kind of speaks to the fact that Targon just doesn't have champions that you would just like generically put in a deck. So like Nocturne just doesn't exist as a card. Evershade Stalker doesn't exist as a card.
It's not a
Lunari
Nightfall card, that's
Shadestalker
what-
is an elusive card. Twilight Protector is a Daybreak card. Crescent Guardian doesn't see the light of day. Lunari Priestess doesn't see the light of day. This is an ephemeral card. This doesn't see the light of day. This doesn't see the light of day. This doesn't see the light of day. And it's like, why are these cards even in standard? Like, I can't play them because you took away Doom Beast and you took away Unto Dusk. So all of a sudden, like, none of these cards are playable. It's like you rotated cards, but like by rotating specific cards out of Nightfall, you essentially rotated all of the Nightfall cards.
Especially the Nocturne. So like also Nocturne like also lose like the Fearsome package as well, right? Because like Nocturne is
Yeah.
also the Fearsome card. And we see in Eternal now pretty good Fearsome deck, but they
Yeah.
also rotated that. So
I mean, I think the like easier one to point out to this with is like Nocturne somewhat, but like Callista, Bark Beast, the Wings in the Wave.
yeah, the Chaos
there's
Scope
like
archetype, yeah.
there's like this shell of Shadow Isles Slay aggressive deck, but like you took away the
Curse
Escaped
Keeper,
Abomination card, you took away Curse Keeper, you took away Ravenous Butcher. Like this deck doesn't exist. Why did you leave me these cards? Like you
It
took
might
away
be
the point of it.
Mordekaiser. It might be the Mordekaiser because we see that now we got a 6-drop, right? So maybe that was the thought that Mordekaiser gonna bring that.
Yeah, but the issue is that, like, even if Mordekaiser comes in and like saves, SI aggro in standard or whatever, the issue is that we spent the entire year post rotation without like a good SI deck.
Yeah,
Like
and
our
like
good SI is just like putting in the good SI spells. We're playing
Oh,
Soul
Harvest
Harvest, we're playing
Fire,
Vengeance.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, like we're playing the good spells, but like there hasn't been like a good SI win condition in a long time. It's it's Gwen. We're like veining Gwen. That's our that's our SI win con.
Yeah.
So like even then, like even if we assume that it fixes it, the issue is that it's gonna fix it for what, like 2 months, and we're gonna get another rotation next year. And
Yeah.
it's like
my comment is more that like we rotated a bunch of cards and that could have been fine, but there's like half of standards pool is functionally rotated. Like Bark Beast
by
is in the
rotating
game.
key cards, you rotated, hundreds
That's
more because they aren't playable.
Yeah, and it's like
that's my whole thing. That's my whole thing that I said. Cards can rotate back, and that's my whole thing. That with the new rotation, we're gonna fix it. We're gonna bring roll of cards back. So we're gonna fix these decks. We're gonna fix these cards that just were doing nothing, right?
yeah, I mean, we could definitely iterate on rotation and try and get to a better spot, but it's just like I don't know. I feel like this round of standard was like pretty miserable. I mean, like
It was
the-
good at first, though. To be honest, like the first release, the Glory on Never, the Samurai release, like we had so many decks. We
So-
had combo, we had counter, we had everything. But then with the nerfs and stuff, yeah, we just got everything.
I think it's fair to say that like Glory Navori was by far the best. I would definitely agree, but I feel like saying Glory Navori was like actually good is really glossing over the fact that like in Glory Navori you had Bilgewater, you had Noxus, and you had Ionia. And then like there was a little bit of PNZ, there was a little bit of Shadow Isles, and it was just like this very clear delineation between these regions are playable and these regions are not. And like don't fucking show up playing Freljord or Targon or Bandle City or Shurima because like you're not going to do well. You can play these like 4 regions, they're 2 supporting cast and Runeterra champions. And that's what you're allowed to play.
I think
Yeah, I
that
don't
there
agree
was a little bit more. In the first one, like wasn't Ash LeBlanc like really good, and then it ate a Reckoning nerf.
Yeah,
But
I mean
I agree with you that there was definitely like it was a similar issue, just like in a different direction. I think that there was more available and there were more options. But yeah, I
think
definitely look
especially the
back on Glory
playstyle.
Navori as like one I liked a lot more.
I like the like multiple playstyles, right? That's something that I said we just have mid range, but at least in Glory Never, we maybe had like similar issue, but we had like multiple playstyles, combo, counter,
yeah,
you can choose.
absolutely Glory Navori was the best standard meta. By far not close. It's just I don't really think it was like something to look up as like this was amazing. It was like this was definitely better than everything else, and I would say it was like good. But
We had also Tristana. That's a good point. We have Banda Tristana, for example.
It's so much broken
that
Tristana
wasn't
shit.
yet.
Holy.
I
think the Tristana came up after the nerfs, right? Like
Yeah.
everything got nerfed, and then like Tristana.
Yeah, after
as
first
she
summer nerf.
does.
Yeah, after
As
first
she
summer.
Tristana
does.
also got a buff. they buffed Bandle Gunners from like
Yeah.
dog shit
Oh, yeah.
unplayable to like actually a good card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about it this multiple times. Like, yeah, just like some champions just don't make sense in standard. I don't know, for example, Akshan. And yeah.
I mean, you
It
can play
happens.
Auction and Glaive in standard, and it's like not at all worth doing. As
I
like,
do want to say, when you said that equipments are, more healthy than landmarks, I will say, Akshan and Glaive is like an FFable combo. I
it-
know if you don't have your heavy metal, that is that is the same thing.
that shit is really, really fucking dumb. And like, I don't know. Some of the stuff that I complain about in Eternal technically exists in standard, but like giving Auction Glaive like an actual win condition, just like, God. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
really like dealing with Auction Glaive at all, but like, fuck this,
Mhm.
man.
All right. So Eternal meta. Do we have like decks we like? Do we have like if you do we have stuff that we're looking at for this weekend?
I have no clue. I'm
I-
like, of course, I'm building, I'm thinking about things, but I'm gonna be honest
Have
with
you
you, it's gonna probably change.
have you tried like the ramp SI deck?
I tried the my bad version, but I didn't try the Teddy version. If you're talking about that, or is there
Yeah,
something
like the
even
War
newer?
Mother's ramp or whatever.
Yeah, I play against it quite a lot. I tried and build it different way with the new airdrop and stuff, but it wasn't working. I think the deck is decent, but it's having clear issues there.
I
It's the
think
classic FTR exploitable deck.
Yeah, I think Bodier's very much like a standard card.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think he's insane in standard.
Also
But
he's back though. That's also an issue for him, I think.
yeah, we'll see if that is a bug or it's technically not a bug, but
Actually,
we'll
it's
see if
not a
it
bug, right?
changes.
Yeah, I seen the the.
We'll see if it changes.
Yeah, I
But
do think
this I just want to say I think that this is like the classic like ramp. It used to be, Trundle, Buried Nice, Idlet Stairs. Now it's just ramp, War Mothers, Shield Waters. Like it's just the same fucking deck. It's the same fucking deck that FTR was like towards the end of FTR's life cycle.
yeah, I mean, I actually enjoyed FTR at points in times, but then like we slowly pushed them to like hyper ramp into just like pray to Jesus Christ himself, this card is unbeatable. And like it's just another thing that pisses me off that I have to play against this in Eternal.
I think War Mothers is a very real card, by the
Yeah.
way. War
Yeah,
Mothers at 11 mana is like really fucking nuts.
the one turn matters so much, especially like, and it just makes the difference. And I think it's probably better than FTR currently, especially like the ability that you don't have to play Tryndamere makes like it's so good.
And Tryndamere like isn't a card.
Yeah. I think the really big thing about this is like, usually you're looking at it's like, oh, if I play F tier, I get two 10/10s. You play War Mothers, you played a turn earlier, you basically get a 10/10, then you get another one, and then you're getting shit every single turn and you never have to spend mana again, right? I think that people currently are probably building it a little bit wrong. I think it's not running enough answers. That was my issue when I was playing it is, sometimes I would do the thing and then I wouldn't have my Harsh Winds or I wouldn't have my Vengeance and I would just lose the game anyway. But I think once people fix this deck, like I think this deck is really fucking stupid.
Okay.
It's also like mostly available in standard, which is a great time. I'm sure that
I
won't
think
be a problem at all.
I think you're going to Seicho's doing standard. I think you could like ramp Seicho into the bow there.
I think
think
you could
that's-
probably just play War Mother's Call and just ignore sigils.
I can see that.
You have less
Wait,
ramp, right? You don't have Catalyst.
Yeah, you don't have Catalyst, you don't have unit ramp. This particular version I have on screen plays no unit ramp, but like that might be a thing.
Unit ramp makes War Mothers worse.
Yeah.
But if you want to like, if you're fine making War Mothers worse, then like in standard we could just play like Explorers, and that'll probably be enough. We'll play Bodier. But yeah, no, it's pretty. Yeah, it certainly is one of the decks of all time.
Yeah.
I think let's see. I'm liking a lot of the PNC aggro decks. I think those are pretty cool.
I think
I think that
is very good. Yeah, I agree
yeah,
with that.
there's like the cast of decks that like literally come back every Eternal. Like no one thinks about until like day of tournament. So I'm thinking like Jace Lux. I'm thinking like Tristana SI. I think that
There's
these decks.
Nasus, I think also fine.
Yeah, I think these decks are pretty reasonable. Nasus and Endure. How do we feel about Nasus and Endure?
I don't
Nasus is just better. I think Nasus is just better than Endure, and Endure is like it's funny deck, but I think having the trash, having the Nasus is just better than having just and hoping for they render to win the game.
I mean, it kind of depends. I feel like Nasus is considerably worse into like control because Endure stacks regardless of what's going on. Like if they kill your units, you still get stacks. But I would expect Nasus to be the better deck because I
And
mean,
overwhelm also means that like Endure is more of a threat than Nasus is. Like Nasus can be blocked a couple times. Endure cannot be blocked.
yeah,
Which I think is relevant. But also they get to run Spirits Unleashed, which Spirits Unleashed is probably the best card in the entire game.
yeah.
Yeah, we saw
I think-
Plunder also. Yeah, Plunder is also something that seeing some play. Yeah.
Bro, I was watching last night fucking Bandit Keith playing the stupid Jinx Freljord, Entreat deck. And I just watched that man play Spirits Unleashed over and over and over, and then like his jury rigs and choppers are massive. I'm like, oh my god, this card, dude.
Yeah, Spirits Unleashed is crazy card.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's so much crap in Eternal that I wish just stayed there and I didn't engage with.
Yeah.
Spirits Unleashed.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that it's so funny. I enjoy playing against a lot of this stuff. Mainly because I'm playing stuff that like I'm having fun playing it.
Yeah, so yeah, because
Okay.
I see something busted and stuff, but I'm also doing busted things, so I'm
None-
like, fine, like.
None of my bullshit is back. I don't have any of my bullshit.
Bro, I try out my TF Nilah.
I
think it's
probably will,
really
but
good.
like none of my fucking bullshit is here. What am I
What do you
supposed
miss?
to be doing?
What do you miss?
He wants Nami, bro.
Not
Oh
me.
my god.
I'll fucking take like a Phalios. I'll take Darkness. Dude, I'll take so much. I'll take Ari Kennen. Fuck it.
Do you not like Aphelios Victor?
No,
could
not
build that
nearly as
6
much.
different
I'd take
ways.
Winding Light. I'd take a Phalios PNZ Winding Light.
You could
Not
play
very
that.
interested in Victor.
Something that we
Um,
need back, Joe. Like Aratus. For next Eternal, we need Draven Ezreal. Man, I won that deck so much.
Sure, I'll
Like,
fucking take Draven Ezreal. Dude.
Man, I miss it so much. Like that was just fucking perfect, man.
It's funny, I've been talking a lot about like, I've been calling for like Tribeam reverts and stuff. I'm not really as invested in Tribeam as I am in like the archetype of like PNZ Nox mid-range control, with options to go control or like beatdown. It doesn't have to be literally Tribeam. I just want like Tempo Flock. I want my Tempo Flock deck to be good.
Yeah, the center flock, man, into
Sentry
Draven,
Flock, yeah.
into
Even
Hall.
bro, I'll take fucking TF Gangplank, Noxus. You remember that? Fucking red card flock, bro.
Oh.
The good old days. Yeah, no, it's
Maybe
certainly.
Swain back, but Swain TF, man, also maybe, man.
Dude,
Something.
I tried playing Swain with the dragon.
There's like
wasn't
Swain
great.
Nora, right? Swain Nora, I've seen some people play.
I saw someone playing that.
But Imagine was playing it.
Yeah, I don't know how good that stuff
The
is.
Swain's bad. Yeah, I can agree with you. Swain's fucking.
Like we couldn't flip Swain before. Like
Yeah.
back when Swain was 12 and we had Flock, we couldn't
Yeah.
flip Swain and Bandle.
Yeah.
Now Swain's 14, and I don't think this dragon's fixing it.
Like it's 4, right? So like it's on a 10 then, smile. But
I
I remember watching Ultraman like playing some open on seasonal.
Yeah,
And
Ultraman
I
loves
remember
that
that
shit.
he like was Swain like 2 out of 12 and like 10, and I was like, okay, bro, what are you
Yeah,
doing?
I don't remember when I was playing Swain BC, but I definitely was at one point in time, and I just like consciously was aware that like the plan to flip Swain was draw flocks. Like you just did not flip Swain without drawing flocks, and it was like, that's life.
What about you could probably play fucking Nora no control or no win con Nora, right? You could probably play that.
Eh.
Yeah, you're Nurk now. You
I
can
am
play that.
pretty confident that you have to play a win condition in that deck now. And
Wait a second.
I have strongly believed.
What?
So
Drizoth.
You changed. What?
I didn't actually change because I've actually told people this a lot because frequently people would be like, "Oh, I really think like Nora Broadname would be good in this meta because like I can just like play Captain Farron and kill people or Treasure Trash and kill people." And I have long held the belief that if you're playing that deck and you come to the conclusion that you need to play a win condition, the answer is don't play the deck. The only time the deck is playable is if you're allowed to not play a win condition.
I see. Okay, maybe it's not then.
As soon as you're required to play a win condition, just drop the fucking deck and play something else.
Yeah.
Um,
What I need to do, what oh my god, what I need to do is I need to keep track of like what I play every single Eternal so I can like go back and like look at it. Because I feel like every single time we drop into Eternal and it's like a week before I remember like all the decks that we were playing before.
Yeah, but everything got nerfed this time. I was like watching, and you know, Indigo got nerfed, right? We were playing Timelines that also got nerfed. Every Funny also got nerfed. My Cosmic got so
Samira
gone.
shit.
Summer,
Right.
Summer Action also got nerfed. Yeah, like the decks basically like I was watching it like top 5, top 6 decks that were in open just got nerfed, like all of them.
Riot was
And
ready
but
this time.
yeah.
something that I didn't try yet is Lee Action, but I don't know about Express into Lee Action.
I would expect Lee Auction is fine. I mean, Auction Glaive is so unbelievably fucked up. Like,
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
what?
You know, Azir Irelia. Okay, I'm surprised by the way that this win rate keeps dropping. Okay, so here's the thing. Azir Irelia with Desert's Wrath buffed up to 3 mana. At 3 mana, Desert's Wrath is a real
Yeah,
card.
that card is
This
crazy.
card's scary.
We were
My
talking about
issue
it.
is in Eternal, aggro is real, and this deck cannot beat aggro. And I think that if we had like an Eternal meta that lasted like a month and a half, we might end up in like a cycle where Azir Irelia is good. I just think that as it is, there's no fucking way in a 10-day cycle that you can play Azir Irelia. It's just not possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the deck is good there. I think like it just kills. The new card is amazing, and like if there's sort of counter decks, this would be amazing. But you meet Pop Basics, you meet Draven Vi, you meet any Draven deck, you know, like man, Draven is just loving the Sensogers and stuff, and Blade Sages, right? So, yeah.
Yeah.
There's also Thresh Nasus with like the old school counter. This
Oh,
fucker
yeah.
that just like
I was playing like I was like playing yesterday Technosis into this matchup, and like my Bakari was like 8-2, and I was like, oh hello.
every now and then you get to introduce like a presumably new Azir Irelia player to the combo of Atrocity, not and Nasus. This fucker. Like, this
Bro,
guy gets atroed into your face.
One thing that I'm consistently surprised of when we come back to these SI aggro decks is I'm like, there's not that much card advantage unless you pop off a glimpse or something. You kind of run out of cards. You run out your cards very quickly. But dealing with like 3 or 4 units with 3 health is really fucking hard. It's really hard. And these units just stick around forever. And they push just like a weird amount of damage. And you're sitting there and you're at 6 HP and it's like, fuck, I'm dead to Atro on anything.
Yeah.
Also, Caretaker is crazy because man, Caretaker just pushes infinite damage. Like Spirit Legion also doesn't die to pink. Just like this deck also got buff, right? Like that's also something to mention, right?
It's crazy Spirit Leech. What talk about the most random buff?
Yeah.
I mean, this deck all of a sudden has like a lot more card advantage than it used to because like all of a sudden you can just like straight up just play 3 Spirit Leeches and not worry about it.
Spirit Leech, he used to get pinged. We're playing Eternal. Eternal's like the ping meta, right? You have infinite pings. This fucker has 2 health now. Why does he have 2 health? Yeah.
I mean,
it's pretty.
I don't know.
Funny.
My main frustration with it is I felt like this deck, like, okay, maybe we need to rotate some stuff. Sure, I understand that, but like, I felt like this deck was like one of the more interesting novel SI decks, and it's like, why isn't this around in Standard? Why did we get like Nasus Vaults instead of this bullshit? Like,
yeah.
I think it should have like it was a long time in the game, and I think it was fine.
I think that rotation, they just wanted to hit everything that's ever seen play. Like if there's like a package that's seen play, like something has to get hit in it. That's what it felt like. They just didn't want the same people around.
They kept Hammer Chairs though. I guess that was on the deck they kept now. At Echelon Blanc, right? It was like these was like I guess few of them they kept, but
Shen, Lurk.
Shen.
We cannot.
We cannot kill Lurk, man. We cannot Lurk because this fucking code of players that just loves Lurk and they're gonna play it no matter what. They don't care what's happening. They don't care, you know. Actually, maybe we can even nerf it because they're not gonna notice, man. Like again, like make 6 mana pike. I don't know. Like they're not gonna notice.
I think my favorite part about Lurk is there's a couple of like competitive players that you never see playing Lurk during like season when it still matters, where they just like don't play Lurk because they know it's bad. And then as soon as seasonal comes and goes, These people just queue up 50 games of Lurk because they know deep down they're a Lurk player.
It is impressive to me how much this archetype seems to resonate with people. You know, Jay Sensational fucking loves this deck. Quaco loves this deck. There's so many people that like just love Lurk, and I'm like, I don't understand what you see in it. I
I mean,
truly
Just a
don't.
no-brain. It's just
So-
a no-brainer. Just play cards.
I
That's the
actually,
thing.
I would push back against that. I have played some Lurk in my time. I think both champions are Mastery 5, I'm pretty sure. I
I'm also
actually think
Master 5 on
Lurk
both.
is pretty interesting to play as.
You're both so
Um,
cringe. What the fuck?
I fucking hate Lurk because, like, if I'm playing against Lurk, I feel like I'm literally an AI for them to play Lurk against. Because, like, all of
I
the
like
decision is
playing
in
against
their
Lurk.
predict screen, and I'm just along for the ride.
I win against Lurk. I like to play against Lurk, man. Like that's something that's that's very often a discussion. Like people like to play against decks that they win against, and they don't like to play against decks that they lose to. And that's
I
also
mean,
always kind of thing.
I feel, I don't know, I feel like you're kind of being disingenuous here because, like, Lurk never mid rolls. Like, it is impossible for Lurk to mid roll, which is the frustrating part about it. Like, you see token come up on their end, and you're like, oh, fuck. Like, it's going to be really hard. If they hit Rek'Sai early, I'm probably just dead lost.
Yeah.
And, like, Lurk does not have average draws. It's just, like, it draws an
Yeah.
extreme, always. It
But I guess
cannot
my thing is
mid-roll.
like every time I lose to Lurk, I'm like, I don't care because they Herald, right? And I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. Like,
See,
Yeah.
the issue is I care. You know, I'm care because they high rolled. This fucker high rolled me, bro. What the hell?
Yeah, they high roll
because you're the
precisely
unluckiest
50%
person
of
in
the
the world.
time.
I get you, I get it. You're the unluckiest person in the world, right? That was one of your titles in the stream.
Actually, fucking true, though, man. Yeah. Um. Speaking of decks that people love to love or hate to hate, love to
boy.
hate to love. How do we feel about Shellfolk, guys?
Alright, well, let's.
If you guys don't know, there's a new Shellfolk deck. I say new. This deck has existed for
Shurima.
quite a
Right.
while. Yeah,
The wrong
Shurima.
yellow region.
Shurima Shellfolk, last patch, like last Eternal, it existed to play a bunch of you play the monument card, Valley of Imitation or whatever. So when you play Shellfolk on turn 6, you get 2 Shellfolks, which means that when you predict and you pick a card, you get 2 copies of it. So if you find other predicts, you can fill up your hand with whatever you want. And when you fill up your hand, it used to be you would play a bunch of group shots or poison darts to kill your opponent in one turn. Now we have Bursting Backpack. So we are filling up your opponent's deck with 400 mushrooms in a turn. People hate
I hate
this
it,
deck.
yeah. But
People
we are
do
the
not
biggest
like
defenders, Aikado. Like me and you are the biggest defenders of this deck. So I guess maybe Drisoth opinion on it might be the most like not biased, I would say.
Yeah, so my take on this is, first of all, it is very relevant, or my take, that this deck is dog water. Like, we
And
might
also,
argue
who's
that
first
it's.
play this?
Hmm?
Teddy plays it, I play it. That's also thinking. This deck has 36% win rate. And I do play it, Teddy plays it. Like, I'm
I-
30 games of this. Like,
I think it is possible to argue that this deck like is better than 36%, but like there's no goddamn way this deck is good. It has a fucking 35% win. So at that point, you're basically telling me this deck is so miserable to play against that I don't want to see it ever. And at that point, my question becomes like, how is this deck relevantly different than the like this stupid combo deck with like Crimson Banquet Hall?
I put a picture of my win percentage in our Discord. I don't know if you want to show that. But this is me playing the deck. And I probably have more games on Shellfolk than anybody else on the fucking planet.
Okay.
I have bigger win rate. Oh,
Oh
you're
boy.
so
Yeah.
bad.
You're insane. I'm bad at the game.
I have
Um,
56, I think, in like 30 games, something like that.
Yeah.
What I understand that people dislike this deck. I get that. One thing I will say is that this is like the least toxic this deck has ever existed at.
Yeah.
If we talk about like the states that Shurima Shellfolk has existed in, this is the least toxic. Because it doesn't pass prio 10,000 times. It actually has a win condition. You combo in 2 minutes. I think that my frustration point with this is that it just seems like a long line of people upset that combo decks exist. Because like this one is like relatively inoffensive. I understand if you dislike it, but like it bricks really hard. If you just kill the landmark, they lose the fucking game on the spot. And like it combos in 2 minutes.
So
If this was like a 10-minute thing, I
Yeah.
get it, but it's not.
Cross, just concede. You're not winning the game. Like,
Yeah.
this is the problem that I have. Like, this deck is pretty bad, so we're not like nerfing it from an objective power level standpoint. It does actually put the game into a one state. Like, you're not beating, I don't know how many 15 bursting backpacks is, probably like 400 pop caps. Like, you're
480.
dead.
480 pop
Okay.
caps.
So you're not beating 480 pop caps. The game is over. Just move on with your life. And it's like, there's times that I thought Shurima Shellfolk should be deleted because they played like 8 million cards, they played 1 million scrying sands, and they're not actually progressing towards a win. They're just taking game actions and making it difficult for you to win. And it's like, that's miserable. I understand why that needs to get rid of. But
My old version of Shurima Shellfolk, like back when I was playing it, and it was fucking terrible. Was like literally copying the fucking 2-mana drain 2, and then I'm just like trying to play that like 15 times. And this is taking like multiple turns, and I'm fucking playing a bunch of different like otter pusses and stuff. I'm pranking your hand the whole time. Like this is a much more toxic deck than like what we're playing today. And what we're playing today just has it like, it's just boiled down into, I set up my combo. You didn't have interaction. You could still interact with it during the combo, by the way. And like if they pop like 6 Shellfolk, or if they pop like 6 bursting backpacks, you're probably beating them if you kill their Shellfolk. But the thing is that like it feels like a lot of people just don't think that combo deck should exist.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think that I was tweeting about it. People just play against. They hate to play against combo because it seems that they're winning because they are winning because combo decks need to set up their combo, right? We need to set up bar. We need to survive till 10 as karma, right? We need to now play the value implementation. And they're like, I'm winning on bird, I'm winning on damage, so and now they play busted card and I just lose to it. By the way, I have 60% win rate in 28 games.
So,
Easy.
I don't
You're
know.
insane.
My take, which I'm gonna bring up as Paint to do, is like we got like good, and then we got toxic. All right, and if
That's
a combo deck is too good or too toxic, we can nerf it. And so like, there's some line here where it's like, all right, this is not okay. And like, Shellfolk is like pretty toxic, but it's also pretty horrible. And it's like here. And it's like, we don't need to nerf this. Like, this deck sucks. People will just play some other terrible infinite deck. Like Auction Infinite.
Action.
And to be clear,
Action had a bigger win rate as well.
you're allowed to hate like toxic decks. I'm the guy who got fucking peak nerfed. I literally got Targon's peak
Yeah.
nerfed, and Targon's peak was never good. I got it nerfed because that shit was fucking toxic as shit to play against. I've complained about like 30% win rate Rise a million times because Rise makes me want to blow my fucking brains out.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think that Shellfolk is like. I think that Shellfolk as a card, if you think that Shellfolk as a card is toxic, maybe. But I think that this deck itself like is relatively inoffensive.
Yeah, I mean, I think like if you look at Rise, like Rise has a much more competitive win rate. Much more competitive. You can justify bringing Rise. And like all of a sudden, like as soon as a combo deck is like slightly toxic and just justifiable as a good deck, you should probably look at maybe nerfing this. But like Shellfolk is really bad. And like I don't think it's more toxic than many of this other stuff. I think Shurima Shellfolk definitely has been that level of toxicity in the past, but it isn't right now. And so it's like, I don't see the point of nerfing this. You're just gonna like start complaining about Crimson Banquet Hall Evershade Stalker or Auction Infinite, or
At least even
My
Crimson Banquet Hall Evershade Stalker. If you guys don't know, you can just play like Prankster and then like double Banquet Hall, and then you play infinite Evershade Stalkers in a turn. You can either do that to like burn 15 or to like flip Maokai. Like it's the same win condition either way. It's really bad. But like this is the deck that exists and is like of similar ish power level. And like this one's much more toxic in my opinion because it passes the fucking combo like 15 times. It makes your opponent hit okay like 15 times, which is why I think that like the Poison Dart version of Shellfolk, if you told me that the Poison Dart version of Shellfolk last patch should get gutted into the ground, I'd be like, yeah, probably. That shit's fucking stupid. But
Yeah,
like
I
everything
agree.
that this Shellfolk deck does, like doesn't require you to pass 10,000 times. It's pretty nice. It's pretty nice as far as win conditions go.
Yeah, and also the combo doesn't take long. People are like, man, the combo takes long. When I was playing it, usually the player that I was playing against was just passing too slow, and yeah, then it took me fucking 20 minutes because he was passing so slow. If he, I don't know, turn off auto pass or something, I'm done in 3 minutes. With Shellfolk, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm done in 3 minutes. Like,
Yeah, I mean the other
I'm
one,
like toxic in that way.
the other one I'd point to is like, it's not just combo decks with that problem. I mean, like, I'm the guy who would 0 win condition nor broadman control it up. And like, let me tell you, like, this like infinite purgatory that you're not leaving because you won't concede a dead lost game, like, that is not unique to combo decks. That is just because like people try and get games over with that they don't need to. And it's like,
Yeah.
if that's the complaint, like I can play Nora Broadman and I mean, I don't know, Baya, I remember you were watching me play Broadman at some point. You were just like, I've never seen someone just refuse to win a game. And it was like, well, like maybe attacking, like they've got like Falling Star. I don't know. Why attack? I'll just deck them. I can
Yeah.
kill everything in their deck. And it's like,
Drisoth is actually toxic. That's the issue.
Yeah,
Drisoth.
man,
I mean,
man,
literally,
he enjoys people to suffer, man. Like that's fucking.
it was last meta that I was just like, oh yeah, that's like Sarah set control deck. I don't need to play Big Cat. I'll just deck you. I'll play bout security so that I can win end games. Like,
Okay. I didn't ask you. Have you enjoyed like Spooky Karma in the past? Or
No.
Have you played that deck?
so the thing is, like, Spooky Karma tries to win the game. Like, this is the thing that, like, I feel like
you
people
played
just don't
Worm.
understand.
You
No, it
don't know
plays
the
Karma.
beta Spooky Karma wasn't winning the game.
Oh,
Awesome.
beta Spooky Karma? I mean, it's still played Karma. You just, like, reach turn 10 and your opponent loses the game. And, like, maybe it takes a lot of game actions, but, like, you're trying to win the game. This is the,
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
I don't
I don't
care
know,
about win
it's-
conditions. So.
I think that that type of magic style control of not trying to win the game, you just kill everything that your opponent does, is probably like not cool.
Oh, it's horrifically toxic and should not exist. Like,
yeah. I as far as like this combo deck discussion though, I put out a poll where I obviously inflamingly asked, is combo allowed to exist, which is like a joke question, right? But it feels like every single time that a combo deck comes up, people get upset. Even something like Karma Set, it's like Karma Set made it to turn 10 and they won the game. And it's like, okay, you lost the game on turn 8. I get that you're upset that Karma's copying coins, but like, fucking Set popping your shit on turn 8 is when you lost the game. But people see the last card they lose to and they're just like, these combo decks, grr.
Yeah, it's Azure, it's Karma, it's Seraphine, right? I think like these cards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I always got pushback when it was like every Seraphine deck like felt the same because people would be like, "Oh, Ezreal was like way different." It's like I lost the game like 7 turns ago to Seraphine flipping and I couldn't kill her. Like, one of them killed me with Cat and one of them killed me with Ezreal. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, this is the same
that's
shit.
something that people just, I was talking, right? Like they don't see when they're losing because they like on the board they're winning, on damage they're winning, and they're like, I'm winning the game, but actually they don't because opponent set up their combo and
Yeah.
they're just gonna pop off.
I remember a comment I made to MTux at some point where it was like, people will look at a game where like they've got like 1 card in hand and Karma has like 7 cards in hand and Karma's at 2 life. And they're like, oh, this game was close. And it's like, the reason Karma went to 2 life is you couldn't kill them from 2 life. If you could kill them from 2 life, they would have liquidated resources and been at 7 or something. You were dead lost the entire time.
That's also especially against like Demacia deck or something, right? That sometimes against Demacia when you play these combo decks, you're just like, okay, I'm gonna go to 2 hard because I don't care because they
Yeah.
cannot kill me, and yeah.
I think the other thing is that the things that beat these types of combo decks, usually it's like, interaction with their combo, which it just depends on the combo. Sometimes, it's as simple as landmark interaction. Sometimes it's not. Rise has never lost a landmark interaction in its life, but it's interaction and then like actually ending the game. Applying pressure and like actually ending the game. And people fucking hate doing these two things,
Yeah.
especially casual players. They hate building good decks that actually end the game because they want to do their funny thing. They want to do, their War Mothers, and get Eldred down and play 10 cards and then grind out for like 14 turns. And then like, they lose the game when Karma hits turn 10. It's like, yeah, that's what happens. And I think that people find that very frustrating. I think the other thing that's really interesting is just like in terms of what people consider interaction. One of the comments, and a lot of the comments that I got here, like, as long as I'm able to interact with the win condition. And then there's so many people that are like, I just want to be able to interact with the win condition. If I can interact with the combo, it's fine. But Lee Sin was egregious. Lee Sin shouldn't have existed. It's like Lee Sin's one of the most interactable combo finishes we've ever had. You had like 10,000 ways to interact with Lee Sin. And was Lee Sin toxic? I think so, but mainly because you couldn't fucking kill them because 6 Eye of the Dragon was stupid. But like outside of 6 Eye of the Dragon, is Lee Sin the card in toxic? I don't think so. But it feels
Just
like when
glimpse your
people,
unit, vengeance, like
yeah, you can kill your own unit, you can bounce him, you
Vengeance,
can
Hush, Denies.
freezes.
minimum.
There's 10,000 ways to deal with Lee Sin. When people look at combos and they see that they say that Lee Sin's like a toxic one, I'm like, shit, dude. I don't think that you would have like any combo that you lose the game to. I just don't think that's the thing that you like. Yeah.
I mean, I remember a Reddit thread, and it was when like Zolani was running around everywhere because of Siren Song. So like, okay, the deck was fucked up. Not trying to say the deck wasn't fucked up or something. But someone posted a screenshot of like someone just dropping a 28 Zolani into play. No board. They're not like swinging with a bunch of things and Zolani's like copying a bunch of stuff. And they said, Overwhelm needs to be reworked because it's unfair that my opponent just drops a card and wins a game that I was winning the entire time. And it's like, this is literally the combo discussion. If you didn't have an answer for Zolani, you were never winning this game. You were always losing. It's like,
Yeah, exactly.
you need to realize that, like, if your opponent has an unstoppable win condition, if you don't have an answer, you are not winning.
And once I get the discussion about like the last card that they see that they want to nerf, Zolani was so intense, and it was like, man, this card needs so much nerfs. It's so good. After Silencer, sure, we now see it with like the Yumi Poro King. But let's be honest, the card isn't the greatest in the deck. And like, honestly, I think good Poro King list probably would cut it, to be honest. But
I
whatever.
think that
But
the only time that Zolani comes out is to abuse decks that don't run interaction for it. Right? Like it's to abuse stuff like, Tia or not TF, but like Nilah Janna that like literally cannot deal with
Mhm.
this fucking 2020. They just do not have in their regions a card to deal with this.
Yeah.
So they just kind of fold to it instantly. Yeah. I do think that Lee Sin has been toxic in the past, by the way. Like Lee Auction, I think Lee Auction's really fucking stupid, but mainly because they could give him like, 10,000 attack and spell shield at burst speed, right? Like I think that was a lot more toxic. But yeah, I do think that like people just fucking hate combo decks in general. They just sit there and watch their opponent like set up all these different combo pieces, and then it's turn 12 and they let their opponent untap with Ezreal and Seraphine and double bar, and they're like, wait, how did I lose this game? Opponent was at 3 HP. It's like, yeah, no shit. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe people just will always hate combo decks and there's like no fixing them. I don't know.
I mean, I do think there's like, if a combo deck gets toxic enough, it should get hit. And if a combo deck is good enough, it should probably also get hit. But I think combo should like exist. Like we should have the occasional combo deck that's playable. And I think like LOR has done like a pretty good job of like pseudo combo decks where like they're not really a combo deck. They don't just like set up this thing that's like unbeatable, but like it's around and it's fine. And like it gives combo players like a little bit of thing that they
You
enjoy.
have to scratch that itch.
Yeah.
I think that, LR specifically within archetypes, if you compare it to like other card games, we have so many other people who are like, LR has no control, LR has no combo, LR has no, everything's mid range. And I do think that LR does a good job of, making stuff less toxic and, making your control decks run a win condition. I think that that's a good thing.
Oh my, I don't know. Like, I feel like most of the people who played like LOR like had played Magic at some point because like I don't know, a lot of people who played card games played Magic at some point. And like, did people not remember like the misery of playing into like true old school control? Like that kind of has gotten designed out of existence. Like, let me go find one. So
history with Drisoth.
yeah, okay. So Scryfall, can you load? Alright, so we're gonna explain this card a little bit. So it costs 5 mana, so you play it for 5 mana. The mana cost is not hard enough to play that like decks that want to play this card have any problem with it. This card like creates a second place your opponent can attack. So they have to attack it with creatures to kill it. It was very difficult to directly kill. You can kind of think of it as like a landmark where like some stuff directly interacts with this card, but it's pretty hard to directly interact with it. It gains a life to draw you a card, and at the end of your turn, you get 2 mana back. So you basically get like a 2 mana rebate that goes into your opponent's turn. -8, so this thing loses 8 life, and for the rest of the game, it's like War Mother's Call. Whenever you draw a card, you just delete a permanent of your opponent. Creature, mana crystal, other planeswalkers, anything. So usually these like huge minus abilities just win the game, which this one effectively did. I mean, maybe your opponent wins the game the literal next turn, but pretty much they're just dead lost. And then finally, -3, it like puts a card that your opponent has into their deck. So
It bounces it. Yeah.
yeah, it can remove some cards. It draws you a card every turn. This card would come down and draw you a card every turn for the rest of the game. Do you want to know how decks playing this card won the game?
Deck.
Correct. So if you note, this -3 can actually target permanents you control, including
Shut the fuck
itself.
up.
So their win condition was play Teferi, draw a million cards because you're playing a control deck, get this emblem so that you just have infinite removal for the rest of the game, and then Teferi would just tuck himself every turn, and you would never deck. And you would just tell your opponent to take game actions until they're done with this.
Based. Yeah.
That is what old school control looks like, and I'm not advocating for that because that's fucking awful.
Yeah, I think that like there's a lot of like MTG style control and even MTG style combo that's just like infinitely more toxic than anything that LOR has. I think the
Yeah.
LR's done a good job of avoiding shit like this. You know, the closest thing is like Nora Broadmain, and like even Nora Broadmain, like I had to at least pretend to play the game.
Yeah, I mean, there's like other stuff.
Yeah.
This was a control win condition. So this is a 1 mana card that for 2 mana gains you 5 life and shuffles it and all of the cards you've used this game back into your deck. So if you think about this for a bit, this card just means you can never deck. Good luck. I'll just play 59 answers and 1 Elixir of Immortality.
Also,
Based.
it's here's 5. What the fuck?
Based as fuck. But yeah, no, I think that I'm very glad that we're not playing MTG. But anytime you start comparing like what we deal with in LR compared to the other card games, like it's very obvious, I think, pretty quickly that there's
Yeah.
that there's
Like even though we shit like on standard, we shit on Eternal, man, it's still better than MTG or like has it's still the best
fuck
card
MTG.
game
Yeah.
on the fucking market.
I mean, these like
Yeah.
these old school control decks, admittedly, like and I have my own problems with MTG, but like they mostly have tried to design decks like that out of existence. Like you're kind of not allowed to do that, but every now and then they screw up. And like I don't think people quite realize what happens when these like true final win conditions aren't good enough. And what you get is you don't get control decks that play win conditions that you can interact with. You get control decks that don't play win conditions. Like, there's this like brain rot that I see where people are like, oh, well, like, can we buff like Udyr cards so that like Udyr's better? It's like, well, if you buff them that way, like Udyr isn't going to get buffed. You're going to buff like this random other deck that you didn't think of because you don't just buff card, like things don't exist exactly how you hope they exist. And if you
We should make
nerf
every champion Runeterran. That way they can only play their cards and then
Oh my god, exactly.
based. Yeah. But at the end of the day, Shellfolk, I don't know. I understand if you dislike it, but I don't know. It is
I
what
think,
it
like,
is.
yeah, just like being so vocal about it and being like this is the biggest issue that LR has ever had, and that's something that I was feeling about when I was playing it on stream, when I was playing and when I was reading Twitter. It's just something that is just unreal. I mean, it's always Marshall with Sunny, man. These two guys, man, like they always.
as much as I'll a little bit clown on Marshall, I actually think Sunny's take is a little more reasonable because Sunny's basically saying, I don't enjoy this deck and it has a play rate. So like that's my complaint. And like
It never had
honestly, reasonable take.
It didn't have ever priority winners. Like it had like 1% or like. At
I
the
think
peak.
like super early on you did see it a lot more. And I think it's fair to basically be like, I really don't enjoy this deck and I'm engaging with it more than I wish I had to. And like, okay, that's an opinion. I can't really say you're wrong. I do
Something,
think
but if you're watching what of this, I assume that they're gonna release Martians and they're gonna release their episode, so it's gonna be kind of interesting to compare what they think about the Shellfolk combo at the same time when we do, talk about it.
I also like compared to other Infinite decks, like again, like Auction Infinite, the OG Auction Infinite with Ionia took like 15 to 20 minutes to kill you, right?
yeah.
With PNZ, it took like 10 minutes to kill you, 8 to 10. This deck literally takes 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It literally takes. I have had my opponent's turn take longer on my combo turn than me. Because, they're sitting there thinking like, oh shit, do I throw my removal right now? Or they're just malding. But like it literally takes like 2 minutes of actions. I think that it's pretty fucking inoffensive. I have people rope me for much longer than that on much simpler decks, dude. The amount of times I get roped at 0 mana for a full fucking minute is not crazy. Yeah, so I don't know, man. I just I don't think that it's like that big a deal. But
Yeah.
I guess like moving on from this, but like on other stuff, have y'all experienced like a significant increase in like, I don't know, salty emote usage? Like, I feel like it got much worse semi recently, and it didn't have like a clear cause where people were like, I don't know, I'm taking like a little bit too long or whatever, and someone just like starts emoting at me, being like, oh, you're just malding and like you're dead lost. And I'm like, no, I'm like
I
thinking of
think it's because of Eternal. I think it's because of Eternal because you play against people that you would never play otherwise because you're playing against silvers and bronzes. And because of that, they are not used to people be thinking, they're not used to be somebody taking a time, and I think that's the thing.
yeah, I don't know. My issue right now is I have a bunch of people who are just like hard fucking roping me. We have a thing on my stream where I've started to
Sure,
pull up
fuck,
Family
yeah.
Guy clips. We're like watching Family Guy because I'm 5 minutes ahead. Even in Gauntlet, the Gauntlet has the timer. I'm 5 minutes ahead, and my opponent's roping every action. So we're just watching Family Guy, bro. It's
Yeah, especially when I play Shellfolk, I played like 28 games of it, and like I was like, I just said that I cannot play this deck. I enjoy it a lot. I'm gonna be honest with you, I enjoy the Shellfolk deck a lot. And I just said that I cannot play it on stream because it's unwatchable. Because every time I play it, my opponent just start to open me, and then my combo takes 20 minutes, right? And that's not something for stream.
it is pretty fucking cringe that again, like when my opponent starts roping every single action, like oh my god, you're spending infinitely more time than I am. Just pass to me and I'll play my shit. I play my shit fast. I play the game fast. Just you're the one making this painful. This doesn't have to
where
be
was
painful.
it? I don't know. I didn't want to like specifically blast this person, but like, where was this game? I tweeted about it. I knew that, but it was like,
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be. Oh.
To be fair, Drisoth,
44 minutes.
44. To be fair, didn't I message you? We ran to each other on ladder a couple weeks
Yeah.
ago, and I was like, "Bro, you're not playing at a reasonable pace."
I don't remember the specifics of that game. I probably was not playing at the most
It was
reasonable
Jack
pace.
said, I think. I don't remember if we were playing like the mirror or something like that.
I will definitely say that shit was not close to this one. This was misery.
Man, I remember playing against Dyna and EU, man. Man, fucking Dyna. I remember that every time I saw Dyna playing his Nightfall aggro, I was like pulling up Netflix and was just watching something because it was 20, 30 minutes games every time.
I've never talked with Dinah. If you guys don't know, if you don't play a ton on EU, or if you haven't, if you haven't been around for a while, Dinah used to be like this Nightfall player that would play aggro, play nothing but aggro, but would rope every single action for minutes at a time. This fucker played so slowly. Has anyone talked with Dinah? Is Dinah like a normal human being that's like sitting there and like actually thinking through like 10,000 lines,
He was
or are
streaming.
they just toxic?
Dinah is thinking. They're not being toxic. I mean, I don't know. I do have this take that like, I don't know. I feel like people get mad at me sometimes, but like I'm pretty sure most of the time someone gets roped out, they deserved that loss because if you take too much time, you can get roped. That happens. And Deech was like one that I remember being pretty bad. I roped Aikado once, and I actually don't think that was.
Oh, do we mean like in tournament? Like if you go to
Yeah.
time? Yeah, that's fair.
Not,
I've
of course.
I don't
I've gone to
remember.
time a few times. I've timed people out in tournament. Usually if you lose on timer in tournament, it's your fault. Yeah.
There have been
Well,
some timer scams. It's not like 100% of the time. And yeah, like I don't know, Rusticles being up here was like particularly relevant. I would not rope Rusticles. Rusticles is a very unique situation, and I would not.
If you
Did-
were
did
in a
Pepper
position
know?
where you're playing against Rusticles and you're in the last like minute of overtime, would you?
If I had a team that I like presumably couldn't communicate like with an Aegis team, I would rope
It's
out
it's
Rusticles.
round 10. It's round 10. You're fucking this is your winning in or losing out of Top Cut.
And is the game reasonably over in some direction? Does Rusticles have like a large advantage on
You're
me?
pretty behind. You're
Oh,
pretty fucked. If we played for 10 more minutes, you're definitely losing this game.
I would not rope out Rusticles in that situation.
It's World's Finals. It's World's Finals. Would you not open?
Okay, World's Finals. I don't know.
Wow. Oh, so there's a check. There's like an
so
amount of money.
There's a
There's an amount of
prize,
money where
okay.
Drisoth is
Yeah,
willing to do it.
probably.
Okay, honestly, I wouldn't even care about the money. I would care about like winning votes, right? Like, let's be honest, like I would assume everyone's
Yeah.
on the call and like basically everyone in the chat that's
I-
competing like to the goal, right? Let's be honest, like
Anything high pressure like that, I feel like it's very hard to actually answer truthfully. I feel like I wouldn't in Swiss of Worlds, but I don't know if I can say that with confidence. I know I would if it was an Aegis and I had a teammates that may want me to take the win and I can't communicate with them, and it's just like, okay, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. I can't communicate with them. I personally feel like I wouldn't rope out Rusticles, but like these people may want me to. And I can't communicate with them. Like
So peer pressure. If there was potential peer pressure, then you would rope him under peer pressure.
I would not feel comfortable making an executive decision on behalf of a team. If I had like,
I'm just saying in the most inflammatory way
Yeah.
possible because I think it's funny.
if it was like the draft league and I was the captain, maybe I would be willing to not do it because I have like some level of authority there. I don't know. These situations are complicated though, but
not right.
yeah,
you just-
basically, if you're not Rusticles, I will rope you with zero shame. So
something. I guess we can like look at the last special, like maybe talk about the new cards because they've seen some play, especially the Noxus one. I guess maybe that thing, like that's maybe just the Noxus. What did see anything other play other than the Noxus one? Maybe the SI one a little.
Okay,
we'll do a
so
little bit.
of course Freljord good. Everyone knew Freljord was good. Everyone knew Nox was good. There's a really funny card here. There's a really funny card that I didn't realize was kind of crazy in standard, but is kind of crazy in standard. Dune Swallower. I don't know if you've seen this deck. There's a standard deck that plays like 22 1-drops and then Dune Swallower. And the entire idea is that you just Dune Swallow on curve and eat all 3 of your mana, and then you might your Dune Swallower. That's the whole deck. You play 22 1-drops and that's it.
So it's basically like standout. Like it's something like we play Vi now, right? So it's like very similar to that.
Let me go try and find this deck because someone brought it to Aegis and I saw it. And I'm like, that looks like the stupidest deck ever. So then I queued it up on stream and we won like 5 games in a row. And I'm like, oh, just kidding. This is the best deck ever. Here, I'm linking it.
That makes sense. Like the 21 on 22 1-drops, Shrimmer
I gave you
Noxus
the-
Akko was always like
code.
pretty decent, right?
No, I've never seen a deck with this many 1-drops. Pirates ran
Simon was
like
playing
12?
that. Simon was playing that. Someone was playing this deck like 2 years ago.
Okay.
And this deck was pretty good.
Pirates ran like 12. No, pop
There's
it open.
gotta be a fucking. I have
Pop it open in a real fucking view.
All right.
I'm telling you that this deck, you could just type it there at enter deck code. There's like a calf, whatever. This is the stupidest deck on the planet, but it's actually like kind of fucking fire. Yeah, I think the only other deck I've seen run this many 1-drops was like Siren Song, and even Siren Song didn't run this many. It ran like 18.
No, there was Noxus Shrimmer deck Akko by Simon, and he was playing like this amount of 1-drops back in the time.
This is this deck's really fucking funny.
It was apparently it was supposed to be any instead of the Poro.
Okay. I did not know that you were going to refer to this deck. I have not seen this deck. I have seen Dune Swallower a couple of times, and I will say, I believe every time I've seen Dune Swallower, my opponent has A, lost the game, and B, lost with like 4 fewer mana gems than I have. So I do not have a high opinion on this
When
card.
I originally saw Doomswaller, I'm like, oh, maybe you'll play it, for value sometimes. You'll maybe you'll like eat 1 or 2 units and it'll be okay. And then I saw this deck and it literally never gives a shit. It never eats a unit. It's always just fucking nom all 3 of your mana gems on 5 and then just might the fucking might the spell shield unit.
All right, I mean,
Like it makes sense. Like it makes sense on paper. Is it good? I don't know, but it makes sense. But like
It's
if you don't
broken.
draw the Swallower, like this deck is very bad. I'm gonna make
If you don't draw the Swallower, you're just so the thing is that you're playing standard, right? In standard, aggro doesn't exist, so nobody like if you triple 1-drop someone, they're a little fucked. If you 6-1-drop someone and then like you play a Riven, they're very fucked.
I can see that. Yeah, I guess nobody's prepared. Like nobody's gonna be playing anti-Agados. Okay, sure.
Anyway, I'm not saying the deck's broken, but the deck's a little bit broken, and it's very funny that Dune Swallower found a home.
Yeah, it's like it's funny. It's just saying. I was like thinking about undying, and he just said no. Just eat 3 mana, man.
No, you eat all that fucking mana. Yeah. Are there
Alright.
any other of the cards that I've seen play? I've seen Ruskull's play a lot of Adnir. It's actually so unfair that Riot would queue me into Rusticles. He's out here dropping Adnir on curve with 0 protection and then emoting me and being like, "Don't shoot it." Come on, dude.
But like,
Yeah.
okay, this was talking about this thing. It was gonna be happening, and it's actually happening. That like, yeah, you just gotta wonder because yeah.
See,
You don't have to-
EU is actually just like the freest region because you don't have to deal with just like murdering rustical skids.
Ruskull's dropping his kids is so. I think that this card like still has potential in standard. I think it's definitely hampered by the fact we're just playing Eternal right now.
Yeah,
Um,
the format is so powerful, and like when you compare this to, for example, Poppy, like let's be honest, like Poppy is a little bit better.
Yeah, I think the card like definitely could be decent. I don't think it's particularly good in Eternal though.
Yeah.
Chemtech, okay, I wasn't playing Eternal at the time at all. Chemtech Drink combo was a meme the entire time, right? Yeah,
It got hot because it was causing like crashes of the game.
yeah,
So
I knew it was
wasn't
causing
because of-
problems to the server, but I was like, there's no way this deck was like good, right?
Like you
Yeah.
need so many things, right? You need the camp tech, you need the dice, you need to overdraw. So
This card's fun, by the way. I played it with like a Janna on board, and like I was drawing cards and they're all discounted. I'm like, okay, there's something fun here, but he costs 8 mana, so
Yeah.
he's unplayable.
yeah.
8 mana is a lot.
He's
Yeah.
he's like Avatar of the Tides. If he costs the same as Avatar of the Tides, I think it'd be good. But he's
I've seen this in War Mother's Call decks, but that's like a pretty low bar. That deck will play like anything that costs enough mana.
But the funny thing on this card that we didn't talk last time was that like when you now meet 6 card, 6 champion deck, you actually it's Kingfish, right? Because it used to be like meme, that you met 6 champions and you were like, okay, my opponent's probably not, and now you actually it's making sense maybe a little bit. But I still think it's pretty bad.
yeah. I think Saphirsa still has potential. I haven't seen people cook with them, but I think it has potential. I've seen people cook with Portia, and I'm pretty sure that card is just bad.
Yeah, it's 9 mana. 9 mana is just too much.
I mean, I have a hard time believing that it'd be worth doing Portia when there's like Bordir around, but I would not be shocked for like some of these cards to do some real stuff in Standard, but not in Eternal.
I think Respite is so only antenna, by the way, probably. Because I said, like, we were talking about it, that it doesn't have home, like, we don't have the Noxus mid-range, that we have in Eternal, and that's why he's good. And in Standard is where we're going to be also, again, bad, because you don't have champions, right?
Yeah, no. Fire Spitter's very good or very solid in Eternal. And if we find a Noxus mid-range deck, it'll be good in Standard. But until then, it won't have a home.
I don't know. I do like this card. I think it's been like
I like it, yeah.
pretty
I think
interesting
it's
to deal
amazing
with.
design.
So
Amazing design,
This
very
card's
counterable.
fat. This card has some big fucking stats. This is a large lad. Uh,
Also, the burn is like something that saved me a lot of
Well,
times
it's
already.
not like
And like,
I don't. It's like a 7th Wrathful
Wrathful
Rider.
Rider, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. Wrathful Rider when she got buffed from a 7/3 to an 8/3. There's some people asking like how much stats does Wrathful Rider need to have before it's good? And I don't think it's far off from 8 because like at a certain point you just start throwing mites on this card and just yeeting
Mhm.
it at people.
I
And
think
like
Yeah.
the massive difference between these two cards, like not just the play
One health.
effect, the play effect's cool. It's the 1 point of health. Like 4 health is so infinitely harder to deal with than 3 health.
Getting it out a lot
yeah,
around aftershocks, Yeah.
I do think 4 health matters. I also think the fact that this card like just isn't an abysmal card without the mite combo matters
Yeah.
a lot.
It's just a
Um,
solid card. It's Vi. It's like big Vi that like sometimes shoots something.
yeah,
Usually shoots something.
it's Tribeam.
It's
Uh,
Tribeam. surely.
I think that hits Nexus though, so
Yeah. All right.
Right,
What
well,
else we got?
my team got swept by Aikado's team, specifically by Rusticles.
By Deep.
An Aegis?
We
Pog?
did get swept by Deep. I do think Deep was a pretty decent bring. I told my team that I thought Deep was pretty decent. I got swept by Deep.
Yeah.
I
They
feel
didn't
okay.
listen to you, or what happened?
I
You're,
mean,
like,
I did
so
tell
sad.
them like I probably wouldn't go out of my way to play Deep, but I think it's like a
Oh yeah.
pretty
I
reasonable
was
deck
scared
at
for a
this point.
second.
So
Like I was scared for a second because like I can imagine how it's to you have to on your team, like I can imagine that, like just play good
One
deck.
thing I will say is so this was on standard and on this patch. This is probably the only standard tournament that's gonna be on this patch before the last chance qualifier. I don't know if there's another one signed up. One thing I will say is of course nobody brought Janna. Janna's pretty dog shit in standard now. I don't know if you guys saw Janna Nilah's win rate right now. It's like 45%. I think that people are like will probably update the list and will probably like raise the win rate a little bit. But as it is, the deck has absolutely fucking tanked after the Janna nerfs.
You
You
missed it.
scrolled past it. There's a bunch of people who are like, oh, Janna dodge nerfs again. Janna's still gonna be the strongest thing to do in Eternal. And it's like, no, nope.
It's very hard to
Nope.
level. Like Janna is like a little hard to level now. Like the 8 is so much, man, and like that matters so much.
yeah, I don't mind Janna as a card, but I feel like Janna as a card is just like absolutely not happening in this shell. I feel like I don't know. The biggest hope that I'd have for Janna would be in like an Ionia like Janna set deck, but unfortunately, like that deck is hard to move off of Seraphine.
Or Karma, right? Like there's
Yeah.
just the competition there is very stiff.
Yeah, if Seraphine had like another partner that Seraphine was interested in playing with, I feel like Janna might
Yeah.
have hope, but I feel like she's probably stuck as like the 4th best champion in that deck. It's like, okay.
Full disclosure, when prepping for standard, for the standard for Aegis, I was like, oh, maybe I can play Seraphine SI, and then I'll play, PNZ Ionia. But I was looking at Karma Set, because
Yeah.
I feel like that's just a better place to be. Janna's a cool card. I love Janna so much. Janna is so much worse right now. She's so fucking. She doesn't flip. She literally just does not flip.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's just like she's even more so than she was before. Literally just bar.
Yeah.
But like in a shitty way.
I mean, I could imagine something like Seraphine SI with Janna, but the problem is like you're basically looking for a way to play Janna, and like, I mean, I guess it's standard, so like there's a bunch of decks that just like stone cold don't have champions that they want to play.
Maybe like the
Respect.
Targon one. Maybe like Seraphine, Janna, Targon. But I don't know these.
Yeah, I mean,
Seraphine is the most broken deck. What you mean? It won EU back to back.
I played that deck by the way, because again, I was prepping it for Aegis. I played like 10 games of it, and I'm like, this deck sucks. This deck sucks.
Nobody knows how to play the Seraphine SI, only Boxer. I don't know. I never won on the deck. I had like 40% win rate. I assume you had something similar. Only Boxer is able to win the tournaments with it. I don't know how. The deck fucking sucks, but I don't know. He's just too different, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the main problem. So Donut mentions that like Cloudwinder is the broken part of Janna. The main problem is like, so Janna's package is all really good, but it's very not cohesive. Where like Janna isn't very aggressive as a card, but like Eye of the Storm is very aggressive. Divine Whirlwind is
I think
aggressive.
Janna was a pretty aggressive card.
So
You know,
my comment is like, I think Janna the card is not, but Janna's package like heavily leaned aggressive with like Windborn
I think that
Mariner,
I
Cloudwinder.
disagree. I think that like when you're drawing into, like Howling Gale's a very aggressive card.
Yeah.
The Whirlwind or whatever is pretty aggressive.
Mhm.
Eye of the Storm, Mariners. I think Janna's package is very aggressive. I think that her discount gives you so much tempo that I think that she fit very well. I love the Janna package. I think it was very cohesive. I think that Temple does not synergize
Yeah.
at all with what Janna's doing. With like the rest of the Janna's package. But I think that Janna, Miriam, Mariner, like it's just all tempo.
I
Yeah,
agree with like
I
I agree with the rest of the package. I feel like Janna the card like is really missing some power to really gel with her package. Like not power in terms of like strength, but like literal attack damage power. And Temple is like really weird in these decks.
I would name the Janna package to Nilah package. I think this
Yeah.
is now currently just Nilah package. Yeah, you're like not much okay in Janna, and I think you're okay in Nilah. Because I said I do believe that Nilah is crazy card. I think the amount of what she does, like how she's unkillable on level 2, how powerful she's on turn 2, like yeah, amazing champion.
I think Nilah gets a lot better in like non-temple decks. I think once you stop playing Temple and you just play Nilah and like the slipstreams actually matter, I think she's a lot better. Like I think Nilah in TF are like a fucking match made in heaven. They're so fucking good for each other.
Yeah,
They're so
Nilah into
incredibly good for each
Vikrash
other.
into TF is so amazing because like then I said
Yeah.
like you level like TF on turn 5. Nilah Vikrash TF, amazing combo.
Are either of the two of you concerned that like as soon as there's a fucked up reason to do it, you just can drop P and Z? Like if you just nerf a bunch of P and Z cards and like there's a fucked up reason to be in like Ionia or something, like you can just play the TF Ionia and like
Maybe. I think Cloudwinder's really big.
It's
Cloudwinder's
also burn,
important
right?
to
Cloudwinder
Mystic.
is
Mystic get excited as well. I think like these
in
are so
Eternal, yeah, but like Mariner, I think pulls a lot of this together.
I most certainly would not say that like I think the deck should be in a different region. I'm just a little bit concerned that like P and Z like isn't actually necessary. If there's a fucked up enough reason to be in something else, you can just go somewhere else.
You need a little bit of draw to like start it, right?
Yeah.
Like Rummage is really good at that. And without like a little bit of draw to like start your engine going, there might be a world where we end up playing Nilah and something else. Yeah, it's hard to say. It's hard to say.
definitely.
Okay. What else we got?
Aegis is hosting
gonna
Worlds.
actually have words. Yeah. I guess the most I'm gonna be honest, I think it was very expected. And I'm very happy that it happened because I had and also I got interacted with the people that did it before. And I think Punt mentioned it very well in his statement. I think the guys that were doing the previous words were amazing. But the issue was that they didn't care about LoR. They never played LoR, and now it's gonna be amazing that we're gonna have people that care about LoR, know about LoR, So I'm very excited about it. As a viewer, or hopefully as a player.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really happy to see Aegis get it. I mean,
They
I don't
deserve
know.
it, right? Like,
I think it's like, yeah, they did get it, but like, I don't know. I think like if you're being cynical, you could sit there and be like, okay, well, the production value is going to drop or whatever. But like, I would much rather just give Aegis it, even if the production value drops. And I don't think it's going to drop. So
I don't think it's gonna do because like they like the open cast, like the open broadcast, so good. Like they added the buff caps, chance and death
yeah,
thing. It was like,
I think people are gonna like laser focus and in a really unfair way on stuff of like there isn't a live studio, but like that isn't Aegis's stuff. That is just a decision that was made unrelated to the broadcast partner. And so it's like the stuff that Aegis is actually in control of like flash bombs and puff caps and champion level up stuff, like that stuff is all incredible. And I don't know, none of that was available for any of the like previous broadcasts, right?
No, I think a big thing is that Aegis is, very much like connected with the community,
Mhm.
and knows what LR is about, and You know, it does stuff like that because they know that like counters and stuff are important,
Yeah.
and like being able to see that stuff is important. And you know, having they've reworked like the way that like deck lists look, so it's not like super fucked up. Do you remember when you used to run like 20 spells and the deck list would look just insanely fucked up? Like Aegis does a lot of stuff because they care about the community and they're like engaged with the community.
And the community, they communicate. They communicate their Discord. Sometimes I just message with thread. I assume that I can do the same. So yeah, it's like it's amazing to just see that they are open, and I'm happy to see them that be doing that. And I definitely do trust them on that.
I'm
And
definitely excited for them to get the opportunity. I
Yeah.
hope it's great. I think that they're going to put a ton of time and effort into it. They have been for months. I'm excited for it. I
yeah,
think it'll be
like
good.
without them, we wouldn't have open streams. Let's be honest, right? Like who would do that, right? Like they just carried a competitive scenes for multiple months now. Like I think this whole year was carried by Aegis realistically, right? Like so. Who else than Aegis is gonna run the world then? Definitely deserve.
I don't know. Talking about like this year, I do think it's funny that like Master Runeterra like made a couple of pushes for tournaments and would like reliably be like, okay, we're gonna have a tournament, and then a patch would happen, and Riot would serve them just like the absolute dog shittest format ever to see the light of day. Where I remember they were like, oh, let's have a patch and let's have a tournament. It's gonna be on the next patch. And the next patch, Siren Song. And you're like, oh man.
Yeah,
Siren Song
definitely.
got Poro King to top cut, man. Poro King was in like top 4. It's broken.
Okay, Poro King was also like even in the last open. Like Poro King it's pretty good standard day, by the way. Like Poro King Yume, like I think might be something like it's not bad.
It's definitely fine, and I don't know. I don't think it's like particularly good, but like it's definitely where I would hope Poro King is. Where like it's a deck, you can play it, it's fine. It definitely beats some stuff, but it's nothing like super
We'll see.
busted.
I think Poro King is very solid in standard. Yeah.
Especially if you're like not sure there are like snacks, like the textures are crazy.
It does it's like very linear and like kind of does a really stupid thing, but like the stupid thing that's doing is like hard to deal with sometimes.
Yeah, I mean standard.
Something I mind with the Poro King is that though I think snacks should like cycle. I think that like that sometimes you get like multiple bad snacks and then sometimes you get multiple hot dogs. It's like so crazy different.
Oh, so when you make less snacks off of Poro King, you want it to like go in a circle. I thought you were saying that like the Poro
wanted them
snacks
to
that you main
draw,
deck
yeah.
should draw you a card. And I'm like, shut the fuck up, Bio. What are you talking
No,
about?
I'm talking about Poro King snacks that I think like sometimes you get double impact and you're like just crazy. Sometimes you get the colorful snacks that are so useless and like
Yeah, I mean
I think the issue is colorful snacks are literally useless.
yeah.
Freeze is pretty good, and impact is OP as shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There definitely is a spectrum to it where it's I mean, we've all mentioned the exact same ones, but like espresso snacks, pretty good. Useful removal. Frosted snacks, very like sometimes you get
Yep.
blown out by this card, and other times
Depends
it's
what
like,
you meet, right?
Yeah.
If you meet overwhelm, you're happy. If you meet karma, you don't care.
yeah, I think this is like a solid special snacks. This one is dog shit. Like, this
I don't
thing
even
is
know what this
so-
does. Every time they play it, I'm like, oh, they just played 2 mana snacks. What does it do?
It grants
It gives-
all of your champions everywhere a
Okay, so it
random
does nothing.
keyword.
It does nothing. I see. I
Correct.
see.
Instead of that, you could grant all of your Boros impact.
Yeah, it
This
just
is
boosts
like
at least 6
Decimate.
damage.
This is like
Yeah.
fucking crazy Decimate, and the other one's like, okay, well, if you're running champions that aren't Poro King, then they also get +1/+1.
Also, Poro King gets also +1/+1. He gets +2/+2 with
Yeah.
the colorful snacks.
Yeah.
Colorful snacks just like is so much worse than the other ones, and pepper snacks is like a little bit messed up. But
I didn't even realize, by the way, talk about upcoming tournaments. So we have the Open this weekend. Jesus Christ. And then next week is Thanksgiving. And then right after that is the Last Chance qualifier. And then we go directly into like 1 week off, and then which is gonna have like the grudge matches and shit on it. And then we have patch for Worlds, and then we're prepping for Worlds patch for a week, and then Worlds is in what, like 4 weeks?
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
said, like that's why we're having bonus episode today, because man, there's so much happening in LR, and like I'm very excited about it.
It's definitely
gonna be
a
hype.
exciting time. I feel like I'm probably
Yeah.
gonna skip the Eternal Open because I don't need to play, and my god, do I hate Eternal. So
I I feel like you could find decks that you would enjoy. I feel like we could find you decks.
Yeah.
We could find you a fun Aphelios Victor. I think you'll like this TF Nila. We just need to find
Oh.
you a third deck, and then you just go in and beat some ass.
I
Well,
mean, I guess I
I
could
get
just
you.
like
By the way,
ship a.
Aikado is saying that because he wants you to top, so less people top.
If
And
you
he
could
just doesn't
take
want
away
to.
everyone else's points, that would help me out significantly. Drizoth, I need you to.
I was like thinking about like that he actually cares about you, but he once again cares about himself only. You know, like
So true, so true.
classic Aikado, man.
No, I just don't. It hurts me when you come on and you say that you aren't having fun in a format that I enjoy. I want to bring my brothers up. I want everybody to be, uh, to be having a good time.
Yeah, we do also have this, which came up from the last podcast, where Red put together like he already had the data, but he just put it in a visible way where like you can see how many points qualified players have, and this is like why EMEA has like such wild point totals because like in APAC all of the high points players are qualified, and in Americas all of the high points players are qualified, and EMEA it's like
Yeah, that's so
cast.
crazy.
Who are the World Championship qualifier winners for EMEA?
It's
Boxer won?
Boxer, Anophiles, and Cass.
Wow. Okay. So Anaphilis, I don't know who they are, but I see.
That's the Adiposus Omenontum.
Oh, okay, it's the 8th place person. Okay, okay.
Yes.
So, all of our people who are winning like last chance qualifiers and shit are out here winning other tournaments and like getting an assload of points. You guys, you win your world qualifier and then you just don't play anymore. So now fucking Sari's out here fighting at the top with 38 points and he's not qualified.
I just want to like I'm not being dumb. The WCQ winners are just 1, 2, and 3 in Americas, right?
Yeah.
All right.
To be fair, AJ also won
Yeah.
another tournament, right? And then
Yeah.
Tank Buster has done very well. And then you've done okay, I guess.
Boxer also won another tournament, but it didn't count. But whatever.
Where's Boxer on the list? Is he not? Oh, he's down
They
right
went
at the
in
bottom.
ninth. Yeah.
Gotcha.
All the
I
way
wasn't sure if
above.
Aegis just didn't know how many points to give him. How many of them count?
It
What is he
just
allowed to
matter.
have?
It doesn't matter. He has the fucking thingy. But
I mean,
Cass wasn't final though. Yeah.
He's the
I
goat, man.
I am pretty sure that Aegis is not Aegis cannot handle people changing their names on ladder, which shouldn't change it a whole lot. But people could like go up and down a few points, I think.
I know there's
I
some
guess
issue
only
with
up
you,
a
by the
few
way.
points, but
I know that Barcode and Hollow Vexel should have more points. Because there was some issue. I don't know if it's fixed already, but I know that's happening. And like it's not few points, it's like 10 points both, at least.
Really? Damn.
Yeah.
So, Bio, what would you put your percentage chance at qualifying for Worlds outside of the last chance qualifier? What would you put your chance
I
at?
need to win, man. I have 2 tournaments now, back to back, and I need to win one. I need to win one of them. Like that's my
Really? Is
reality.
that where you're at?
Yes.
I would
Okay.
not agree that you have to win, but I do think like you have to get top 4 in the open.
Top 2.
Top 4 and get
need
help.
I need top 2 in one of them.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay,
obviously
so-
LCQ, you just have to like get the qualification from it, but I think the open like
It's
top
also
4.
top 2, right? That's also top 2. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I need to. Yeah, I have 2 last chance qualifiers. That's my position.
Nice. Nice. I think if I top the Eternal Open,
What's nice on it? Why did you just say nice? Oh,
because you have 2 shots. A lot of people only have 1. You see Baki down there, Baki has 1 shot. You see Larry, you see a lot of people here, they have exactly 1 shot. You have twice as much. You're Boxor. You get 2 tournaments, you're just like Boxor. You have 2 shots.
man, I need to play Seth in SI, I guess, man. The deck is broken, man. You people cannot play against it, man. I don't know.
Time to cancel. But
Yeah. I just need to figure out how to top. I think if I top, I probably am in. I just need to top this Eternal Open.
you definitely need to top. I mean, I guess like theoretically you could not top and like everybody else could also shit the bed, but like realistically you need to top. So,
I have to top. And I think if I top, you get what, like 3 points, 4 points?
3 points.
3, I
yeah.
believe.
Like I think that's putting me in a position where it's very hard for everybody to catch me.
Yeah, it's like that's multiple people. Yeah, you need to top anyway. You know. That's
Yeah.
been a better position than I am in, man. Like, you know, like that's nice position. You know, I'm gonna tell you, this is nice position. I gotta.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I still got to do well. You know, I have 2 last chance qualifiers. You know, what's nice about that? I think what's nice is Drizoth's position, where he's been qualified for 4 months.
Yeah, man.
The shit slapped. I
What you mean 4 months? 6 months?
the
Did he win
single
the first one? Oh, and the Tank Buster won the second one. Yeah.
the single best experience that I had in competitive LOR this entire year was like
Not playing the game.
sort of yes, but a little more details is important. Was like Thursday or something before Siren Song Open, and I was just like, God, how many fucking Siren Songs am I gonna register? This list is miserable. I hate this meta. I was just like, I'll just not play. And I just didn't play.
Realizing you didn't have to engage with the Siren Song meta. The rest of us are out here grinding it out, having to fucking fight through the trenches of Siren Song,
Yeah, I
of
got it so much that I
Carbaset,
win
of
one
Jax
tree.
Orn, of Warden. We're out here fighting on the front lines, and this guy just came out here and fucking high rolled 1 tournament, so we just
Yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah,
kind of, yeah. I don't know. I think hiring one time gives you too much. I think, like, especially we were talking about it, or we were talking about it here. I think that, like, I think that there shouldn't be votes qualifying open, and there should be just 3 opens. You know, split the prizes between them, and just make them all count the same because they are basically the same tournament. Just once for some reason matters more. You know, like
I think that there's value in like not
Yeah.
having to grind every single tournament, having like multiple opportunities to like qualify. Like basically, if you think about it, you know, the world qualifier is like the direct qualifier, and then there's like the seasonal thing, and then the rest of us that grinded every single tournament, we kind of have our own tournament. You know, that's this right here. This is our tournament. This ladder right here. That you know other people don't have access to because you know they didn't play every single fucking tournament. Um,
Yeah, I do think competitively would do better where there just like aren't direct qualification tournaments, but I also feel like people really enjoy the idea of you just like you win this tournament, you're in worlds. That's all it is. You don't have to like deal with points, you don't have to think about any of this nonsense.
also, it makes sense in the right ways because then you have like more hype tournament with bigger prize pool. Also, they tend to do the official cast on the Worlds qualifying ones because they for more money, right?
What
Yeah.
I want to know, if someone could compile this list into just the top 18 players or whatever it was supposed to be before they split up by region, just to see how fucked it would be. Because I expected one region to put in a bunch of people through you know the top 18, because of you know like consolidation of points. I didn't realize it would be EU. I didn't realize it. EU taking all the spots.
Well,
Man.
you cannot take. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you might be right there. Like it's
Well,
because like you don't have just back-to-back winners and stuff, and like we always like we had kind of like random winners, right? Like a lot of like in NA we had like people like you know that were like known, and in EU we have often like winners that are not that much known. You know, for example.
I
What
mean,
the fuck is
I
this key
don't
person with 43 points? What the fuck is going on there? It's a person with 43 points.
I
Sorry.
don't think so. I think there's some valid concern about that, but I think it actually would have been like just America's gets shafted. Because if you look at this, like, so 20th, Rogio has 24 points, which is literally just not even on the list for APAC. And for EMEA, like,
APAC,
bottom.
APAC just has so many more points, and then EU somehow didn't qualify any of their people with points. So it would have actually just been America's getting fucked. So I'm glad they changed that. I'm happy.
It will be this, man. Yeah, like whatever.
It's funny. I
After
think
last person, you know, like whatever.
would it even be better? I think it would be worse for you, by I think that you would that situation would be even worse for you if we're 18.
It depends. I think it depends really.
No. Anyway, because there's so many fucking APAC players, dude. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you would have
Oh.
been screwed. Like, I want you to realize that, like, EV up has more points than you.
Yeah, but then I would just need like I don't know, like top 8 or top 4, and then I would get so many points, and I would help myself. I think I would be in better situation from today.
I
Wait,
don't.
That's
there's
my thinking.
Pisukaru. Baya, didn't you fucking Humegalo Pisukaru earlier today? That guy has so many more points than you.
But I didn't know who's that. I didn't. Oh my god, he made the Vladimir deck. I didn't know who he is. Yes, what?
Yeah, damn, bro. If you net decked Pisukaru more, you probably would be worlds qualified. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not watching APAC because man, I do cast EU and APAC America. So it's very impossible for me to do APAC because I sleep during that time. Like.
I
Fair,
don't know.
fair.
If I wanted to criticize one thing on this list and the particular Americas thing, it's I think Brazil really needs to back up their trash talk. Cause like,
Is Krios Brazilian?
I don't know.
He's
I know
like
he's
Chile now, isn't he? Chile?
Oh, is he Chilean? Pace?
find out.
Chile
think.
popping off?
Maybe I'm making shit up.
Colombia? Is that the country code for Colombia? CL?
That sounds right. Oh, it could be
Okay.
Chile.
Probably.
And we
Oh,
could just
Chile?
look it up, right?
Okay.
CL
Oh
country
my god, so
code.
smart. You even don't know your
Yeah, it's
nations
Chile.
in your continent? Holy. What is this?
Yeah,
guys?
it's rough out there. So wait, what's the highest Brazilian player? Is Nas Brazilian?
Nas? Problem is, like, I know these people are like Latin, but I'm like, I don't know
Oh,
past that.
really? You know these people? Jesus.
I can't
Can
type
you
that
go on
character on my
ladder, please?
keyboard.
Can you go on ladder?
Yeah, and ladder's the way to go. Okay, so they have oh AU, they're OS? Nos is OS? Just do
Nas is
NA.
Os?
Yeah, they're an OS
Oh,
player, so like
this is a much simpler way.
is ladder gonna like be
Matri
like
is
1-1?
very high up there. Matri is
Oh yeah, we know
other question would
Maitri
be
is the question.
Chinos.
Yeah. So is the highest BR player like fucking 12?
No, I just was what I think about some joke about my age, whatever.
Oh yeah, is that where you were going with that?
Yeah, it's at 12. I don't know. Every time I hear that, I'm just like.
Did they have
whatever.
something for their name, maybe? I don't see him on ladder, but yeah. I'm not sure. I think that you're correct though. I think that there was an awful lot of shit talking for I can't quite where are you at? They're a little far down on the list here.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think Brazil is bad, but I do think they need to back up their trash talk.
No, come on, man. You can't do the fucking half measures trash talk with. You say Brazil is bad. They've talked a lot of shit and they ain't backing it up.
Someone clip that and put it on Twitter. Not a will
Come
get
on, man.
canceled.
You can't do me like that. What the fuck?
Well, this is going on my YouTube. What is this, guys? Oh my
It was
god.
a big trash talk thing, AJ, at like the end of last Worlds, because there was like one Brazilian player.
Mati, right?
Yeah. Mati made it to top cut and did the best of all of the Americas players. And I don't know, I mean, like, Mati definitely did the best, but I would say like the entire server shit the bed. Like, it
It's
wasn't
just
that like
so
Mati
good.
did well. Like,
It's still such a joy that we had 6 people in top 16 and you put 1 in top 8, and you had 5 and put all of them. Like just saying.
yeah, the entire server shit the bed. It did frustrate me because it was kind of like, I don't mind people saying that, like, I don't know, the US shit the bed, because we definitely did. But I do mind a little bit when people are like, oh, well, we didn't shit the bed. And it's like, motherfucker, you didn't play. We kicked your ass out in groups. Like,
Feels bad, man. But come on, America's we shit the bed. Yeah, but come on, we got unlucky. We sent a CS player who didn't know to mulligan for CS, man. What are we supposed to do?
Yeah, exactly. And you said
oh,
donut,
Mati's
man.
Chilean? Jesus Christ, what is Brazil?
Yo, Chile's crazy. What the fuck?
Yeah, Chile is
Chile's
the
popping
best.
the fuck off.
The best Latam.
It's fun to talk about, AJ. It's definitely not like remotely relevant.
Yeah.
Most people are so because they talk shit last Worlds. If they were up here, they'd be talking shit this Worlds too. What do you mean?
Yeah. I still think amazing that we can still talk shit about it because the last word is relevant, And We're gonna win
Uh,
this. We have Boxer, so Boxer gonna win this because he's gonna play the same lineup again. You know, like it's so easy.
yeah, I don't know. I Boxer, man, Boxer. Here's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that the Worlds patch has a ton of interesting new stuff, interesting ways to play the game,
New cat,
and
not
if
Buster
I
cat,
if
not
I
not
have to
new
walk
cat.
into Worlds thinking, oh, I'm gonna play Jack Zorn, I'm gonna fucking jump. But I don't know if I can handle that.
How about we just release CS as it was for last Worlds, and we're like,
Yeah,
hey
exactly.
man, let's try it again.
Let's just yeah,
But
we
it's
got
gonna be fair.
okay.
It's gonna be fair this time, though. You know, it's gonna be.
God, maybe no, they'll break some other region, surely. It's probably gonna be SI. It's probably
Yeah.
gonna be like some really fucking stupid SI deck that we're just gonna like 9x.
Nah, Aikado, you know what's gonna happen? They're gonna release like 2 Feyenoord cats because they tend to like release 2 new cats for other regions as well, and they're gonna be busted as shit, and they're gonna be like, okay.
Yeah, yeah. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes.
You know that you already did 2022 there. You know, like you can like click on it. Oh.
He's doing his best.
I'm
And
looking
yeah,
for
actually,
an
he's
old one.
I don't even know what he's looking for. That's my
I'm looking for the
like you're
last
such a
Worlds.
boomer. What the fuck?
Yeah.
last worlds. It is funny what like first worlds we had, like Bandletree and Scion and Nami and Poppy, and we had all sorts of broken shit, right? This last worlds we played Champion Strength and Aatrox and Seraphine and Black Flame Talia's Hinks.
I was hoping to find a list that had like all of the decks, particularly Roji's, because I think it's relevant that like Roji got the closest with Aatrox Vayne. But like I do think these metas are better than they end up being in Worlds because people are just like absolute dog at building decks. Like Teddy,
We're gonna have some.
strong
We
player.
don't know.
Hmm?
Mhm.
Well,
We
Teddy's
don't know
strong.
how actually.
Okay.
Teddy, strong player.
Yeah. Teddy is a strong player. Made a decent deck. We got 2 fucking combat cooks. There are no Ranger Knight defectors in this deck. There's no cataclysms. Or sorry, there's 1 cataclysm. Like, what are we
Yeah,
doing?
we're writing like Champion Strength. Yeah.
Like the decks that people can come up with like just aren't that close in reality, and the meta just ends up better as a result. So
We'll have
But we're
another
gonna have
week
some ladder,
to
right? I assume. Yeah, we're gonna have maybe some ladder. We don't know how it's gonna be with the Ascendant decks, but we might have some ladder, and that's I think definitely a place where the decks just usually get elevated. But I was like, okay, if you've there's my question actually, like, imagine that they're gonna tell you that on Monday you set the index. Are you gonna play on ladder at all? By the way, like, are you gonna actually? I'll just be continuing scrimming.
I'd prefer to just scrim, but I don't know. I could ladder. I think with the
Because like ladder
wider
is like
format, I think with the wider like pool of players, like ladder is like you're definitely laddering to just get vibes on decks. You're not doing it for like focused testing, but I don't think it's a problem to like have your testing be kind of publicly available because people like with a pool of 64
it's not a
people,
group,
people aren't
right?
going to be
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm going to hard counter this guy. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
because there
Yes,
were groups in the
I'm
past,
sorry.
right?
To be clear, absolutely. Whatever Boxer's bringing, that's the best thing in the format. I'm just hard countering it, man. I have his DAC.gg saved as my homepage. Every time I open it up, I'm countering Boxer, man. There's no
I
way.
having both of his accounts, like you need to
Oh
watch out, you know,
shit!
like
No, I only have one of them.
need to watch
Yeah,
out, man.
it will be very interesting. I think having the extra week, means we'll probably land on something closer to a real meta. But even in the first worlds where we had like quite a while, we had like a full ass week, right? We had more than that, week and a half.
First Worlds was like a fully developed meta, yeah.
Because
Yeah,
didn't we actually spend wasn't the world qualifier on the same patch?
yeah, it was.
Yes.
Yeah, but even then, right? Like Poppy Ziggs was found out, like the day after we submitted decks. Ping City was like vastly underrepresented for how broken that deck was. And in this last worlds, like we didn't find fucking acolytes. We were playing a bunch of dog shit lists. This worlds it'll be interesting to see how much we're able to, figure out like good decks.
There's
Maybe
gonna be
like
some
if
more players
right. Oh, go ahead.
There's gonna be like more players as well, so they do like not everyone gonna get like also showdown. So that's also something to definitely mention. That like not every player gonna be on cast this time because it's not possible, right, with Swiss and stuff. So that's something to definitely like consider. That there's more players, so I think somebody will break the core probably. It's more likely, right? You have 4 times the players. So.
Yeah, I mean, people could definitely break it. It's just like these metas turn out better than they are in reality because people are just not actually that good at deck building.
Yeah, definitely. Like
The other
it's hard.
concern though is that, like, in the past we've had essentially eternal worlds where there's fucking you can play anything because there's 10,000 cards in the and there's 1,400 cards in the game or whatever, right? With this we've figured out standard meta. We know what standard meta is. Standard meta has been the same for months and months and months. Unless there's a big patch, which there will be, unless a lot of stuff changes. I don't think it's that unlikely that we end up on some fucking weapon master bullshit.
Yeah. Roji did find the link with his list, and I do think his was the closest, but like we still only have 2 Elkins. We're still on like Zealous Ranger Knight. We don't have Bloodletters, and remember this is like Aatrox that would just like tutor himself when you've played 4 weapons. And we have Roar of Acacia. Like Roji's, I definitely think was the closest. We at least have all 3 Ranger Knight defectors.
It's still like 10 cards off. Like
Yeah.
it's still building decks is hard, and like refining decks is hard. Especially if it's all like behind closed doors, like it's really hard.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think like I really enjoy showing people this because like if you just look at the Aatrox game decks, like that deck was messed up. It wasn't an unreasonably hard deck to build. You don't have that many reasonable choices, and the lists are just not good in hindsight.
If you had, I think it took a while of playing Aatrox. You had to play like X number of Aatrox games before you like really understood Aatrox.
Yeah.
And Aatrox was so fucked up and so bullshit that you could build this terrible deck, and like Aatrox was like popping off. He was like flipping on turn 7, and like it just didn't matter.
Yeah, we still have combat. Oh, this is Teddy's. I already looked at that one.
Yeah.
That's Kane Aatrox.
Kane Aatrox, dude. Holy.
Vayne Aatrox, Darken Staff.
Donut running one Aatrox. He's also running fucking Ballcocks.
Yeah, I mean Donut did get the right idea and
No
play a bunch of
spears?
Bloodletters, but like
2 harps.
Fucking
Oh my
donut, man.
God.
I mean, as much fun as it is to clown on this list, like I actually think Donuts is like not much worse than other people's.
I think there's like 3 baffling decisions made, and the rest is reasonable. But there's 3 baffling decisions made.
I mean, Roji's definitely is the closest, in my opinion. Like the only thing
Yeah.
that's like real weird is Zealous Ranger Knight and Roar of Acacia, and the rest of them are at least cards that you saw in the final list.
I said like it's behind the it's like we had no idea what like actually is good. Like we were trying and like building the decks and like optimizing. You need to really play against the meta as well, right? Like we optimized, that's also to mention. Like it was very hard to optimize the decks. Like
If you don't know what the meta's gonna be, especially with an absurdly obviously broken card like Champion Strength, like how much of the meta is gonna be Champion Strength? How much do we need to like tech 100% around Champion Strength?
Yeah, even though I didn't play Champions League, I knew that like Champions League was gonna be good and people gonna bring it. Of course, I did not expect 9x as Jordan did, but I expected I expected, for example, Teddy that he played like one deck with Champions.
I think 9x CS was like probably, I'm not gonna say an unreasonable bring, but it was relatively reasonable. I think the issue is if you watch these games, it was just like massive. Not realizing that Champion Strength is the only card in your deck.
I mean,
yeah, Jordan tried to play game, right? That was the issue. We talked about it. Jordan tried to play the game while you were just supposed to beat Teddy and just full mulligan for it and don't care. Like,
yeah, the main thing that I would say is like I felt like Jordan screwed up in like deck construction, where like I look at this deck and you're telling me that you can win a game without drawing CS because you're like playing
I think that was the whole idea, right? Is that he wanted to build decks that could win the game without just drawing CS. But the strongest thing to do was to play Jinx and just draw CS Warhead.
Yeah, it's this frustrating thing where like you're telling me you can win games without drawing CS, and you can't. Like we saw him not draw CS and not win the game. So it's like if you're not winning a game without drawing CS, why am I playing Jason Lux?
But even then, like, we look at like what ended up winning, right? And it was Aragorn with Talia Ziggs Ionia, Red Gwen, and then what was his third deck?
Red Gwen and I don't know.
I don't remember. Aragorn, Ooh.
Kane
Oh, Kane Aatrox. Right. And like, we look. I loved looking at the Talia Ziggs deck because like it's kind of crazy. The Black Flame Talia Ziggs with Unworthy Soul. Unworthy Soul was like obviously a broken card, but like this deck did not last a week into like us playing ladder and us playing like the real game. But sometimes you get a little bit lucky. You have a couple people miss lethal. You play very solid throughout the weekend, and like suddenly you fucking win. Yeah, I think that Aragorn, like as much as trying to figure out like the exact perfect list is, it doesn't matter that much. It matters, but like it doesn't win you the whole weekend, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's fun to look at, and I think it's really instructive to show people like people are just bad at deck building. Even very good players trying to break metas miss a lot of stuff, but like it really doesn't matter that much. And if you're like 5 cards off an optimal list, it's fine. Like you
It was
don't.
only a BaJAtak, right? But like, let's be honest, we had 2 world champions and both of them won it with dog shit deck, right? Like this Talia 6 is dog shit deck, and the Alan Shellfolk is also dog shit deck, right? Like something, I guess it's a fact. So if you
The Alan
do
Shellfolk
worlds,
thing, it
just
kills
play
me
dog
because
shit.
like that deck wasn't bad, but God, his build was bad, and we.
And he was like, Silver Action is such a good matchup.
The amount of times that fucker said that Silver Auction was a good matchup, and I was playing that shot ladder. I'm like, it's not a good matchup. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but this is not a good matchup.
See,
And it got banned every time except one man.
what I hope the community realizes is sometimes you just gotta make people play their dog shit deck. I mean, not as much fun as winning worlds, but I do have a story about winning a community tournament with a dog shit deck.
You won Master Runeterra with this fucking spooky Ash. Didn't we literally run into each other in Swiss? And I made you play that shit. I grinded your ass out with
that
Aatrox.
deck was dog. And my favorite part
Made
about the
people play
entire
their
thing is
shit decks.
you're watching me like play the finals, and you watch me boot up the loadout, and it's just labeled bad deck. And you ask your chat, like, has it been labeled that the entire time? People are like, oh yeah, literally since round 1, it was labeled that.
And Toji banned it.
Roji did ban it.
Sometimes you gotta, you get scared by the bad decks, but
It feels like it should beat Aatrox, right? Like you're playing a bunch of freezes, they're playing Demacia. Like that feels like it should be a problem.
you look at the cards in the deck and you're like, damn, a lot of these cards are really good against me.
Yeah.
And then you play the deck and you actually start playing out Darken, and then they run out of cards. And it's like, oh, you have 2 cards in hand, and I have 6. Oh, and 4 of them are really good luck, buddy.
Yeah, that was like what was it? There's a game in Aegis where Methodical was playing against Spooky Ash, a very similar idea with Formidables. And I'm in a call with Alexander, and Alexander's just like, oh my god, this guy has like Eradication and a Vengeance and like a Freeze. The game is just over. We can't win. And I'm like, I mean, maybe, but Zombie Ash is just like terrible enough that like maybe we just win anyway. And Methodical drops into the call right there and is like, hey guys, I won. And I'm like, yeah, deck fucking sucks. Like,
yeah. But then, let's pick it, guys. We have 2 hours. I thought this episode gonna have like an hour, but we managed to make
Sorry,
2.
we went off on tangents.
Baya has to cut us short.
I don't have to like cut it, but I just, we have us like next week, so we're gonna have episode as well next week. And for the rest, we're gonna be talking about because we want to.
We'll be talking about the last chance qualifier. It'll be exciting. We'll know a lot of people who are qualified for Worlds. Tune in because it's gonna be fucking great. Make sure you're liking and subscribing, and you're gonna be here for the next. Yeah, 2 hours in. I mean, I don't know if you're still here. At least subscribe. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, if you're hearing this call to action, you should probably hit the buttons that matter. So.
Yeah, and if you're on Spotify, you can also rate us because we have 5 stars out of 7 ratings. Maybe you can get to 10. And we're actually 30th best podcast in Czech Republic about video games.
Shout out to every listener in the Czech Republic.
Yes, thank you guys. Hopefully you had amazing time, and see you in the next episode.